Appreciate you guys. The Shop Podcast live hanging out with us, man. We got another awesome show lined up. I see everybody falling in here. I'll get to the pleasantries in a second, but once again, I just want to say thank you guys for all hanging out with us. We got a great show lined up, great topic. You guys know what we do here at the Shop Podcast. If you're new here, appreciate you. Come in, kick your feet up. You got to get your shit straight today. I'll explain in a second. I will explain in a second. We have actually two special guests, not one. We got two special guests here, but we'll get to all of that. But shout out to everybody in chat. Sean Su, Mod of the Year, Tool Man, Sensei, Mav, everybody falling in. Appreciate you guys always coming through, giving us support, giving us a lot of energy and love. We got a lot of shit to talk about, a lot of shit to unpack. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. But we will get to our guests first, like we always do here at the Shop Podcast. So we'll start with our guest of the hour today, Mr. Psychonauts, man. Appreciate you coming on, hanging out with us. Now, he has been on the show before. It's been a few months. We always love the returning guests, but shout out to you, Psycho. Let everybody know what's going on with you, bro.
Thanks for having me, man. And I always love doing the shop. I listen to it, and you guys do a phenomenal job. Just been sitting here playing some games, been wanting to play Cult of the Lamb, and then, of course, Pong drops the news, and I'm like, you son of a bitch. So now I'm like, I have to get it now, and I have to, yeah. That's what just been chilling and gaming, and pretty much that's it.
All right. Well, we appreciate you, bro. Thank you for coming through. You know, we got the FSP family, everybody in chat. I already seen Caitlin. What's up, Caitlin? Mav here. I saw Jasper sliding in here. Jasper, I heard about. We'll talk about it after this. Now, shout out to Jasper. Appreciate you, bro. Just throwing some quick jokes there. But man, we're gonna move on to our second special guest. You guys don't know this, but we got a second special guest here today. So it's no longer Pong Soul. It's no longer Pong Harvey. Okay, those are no longer. It is now Pong Corleone. All right. So when you come in the chat, you come in the Shop Podcast. You got to get it together. You know, you may have to wear a collared shirt, a tie, something nice. You got to come in. But shout out to you, Pong. Appreciate you for hanging out with us, bro. I just had to give everybody the rundown on the changes here at the Shop Podcast, brother.
I don't know if I command that kind of respect or not, but I will take it. That's fine, PTK. I always like having a new nickname, so we'll go with it. Appreciate you, brother. Obviously, fantastic to be here again on a Saturday night, and obviously having Psychonauts on here, man. This is family. I mean, we're all family. And this is just crazy. I just love being around you all. So it's great to have Psycho here. And yeah, man, it's been one hell of a week. I've been busy. As always with real life, and then haven't been able to play as many games, but I did get in some Borderlands 3 DLC, which has been absolutely incredible. Some of the best Borderlands I've played yet. I'm so happy I got back into Borderlands 3 and it actually clicked with me, and this DLC is just amazing. So I've been having a great time with that.
Nice.
And then the DioField Chronicle demo came out this week. You all know the smoke and the obviously criticisms I have for Square Enix nonstop. I am not one of those.
They threw us a bone.
They threw us a bone, which I was very excited about. I'm not one of those people that says I'm never going to buy a Square Enix game again or anything like that. So I hopped into the DioField Chronicle demo, and that is freaking amazing. Just really well done. This is a brand new IP. It's a mix. It's not full turn-based tactics. So if you are, like one of those people that absolutely hates turn-based tactic style, this is not that. It's a mix of both action and turn-based. So you can stop the action anytime. You can control the individual characters and tell them what to do by, casting spells or using their specials or, summons or whatever the case may be, using potions, and that stops the action. But when you get back out of that, your guys are attacking whatever you told them to go do and move. That's what they're doing. So it's a combination. But this is a fantastic entry, and I'm really feeling like this is going to be something I put a lot of time into when it finally launches next month. This is looking awesome. So DioField Chronicle. And then, Psycho kind of alluded to it today. Look, my budget took a big hit this week. Big hit. It's not going to be good for the rest of the year. So I was kind of him and Han about Cult of the Lamb, and I was like, nah, I can't do it. I got too, I got to really look at what games I want to get when they come out. So I was like, I'm going to hold off on Cult of the Lamb. And lo and behold, yesterday, while I was listening to the Xbox 2, shout out to Jez, shout out to Rand, of course. Jez said, hey, by the way, we're going to be running a contest on Windows Central for Cult of the Lamb. And I was sitting at work and I flipped over real quick and I saw that they had posted a tweet. So I did the whole retweet thing and all that good stuff. Wasn't even thinking about it. Talked about it this morning with Steel a little bit because everybody's been playing Cult of the Lamb, and I was like, man, I really want to play that game. I can't do it right now. There's no way.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I got off the show, and later this afternoon, all of a sudden I get a notification from Twitter, and I go look, and it's a post from Windows Central saying, and the winner is Pong Soul. And I'm like,
Hey.
what? Yay! And then Jez popped in my DMs and gave me the code right away. So I just started playing a little bit of Cult Lamb before the show started. And yeah, what everybody's talking about so far, so good. This is a great little game. So if you're interested, $25 for the regular edition. If you want the extra skins, it's $30. It's not a full price game, but it's Devolver Digital. They always publish great games, and this looks to be no different right now. It's fantastic. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, man.
Oh yeah, Devolver is amazing. They put out so many gems. It's not even funny. Games that we don't even realize that they're part of or they had a hand in. So shout out to Devolver. Shout out to Windows Central for running a giveaway anyway.
Heck yeah.
So that was awesome, man. That's happened to me a couple times. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with just throwing your name in a hat. You never know what'll happen. So shout out to everybody in Windows Central though, and shout out to you, Pong, for being here, giving us that energy, the battery of the Shop Podcast, man. And last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. Appreciate you, bro, hanging out with us, bringing that smoothness back. How's your Saturday been, brother?
So far, so good. I got the kids learning how to drive today, so did some driving lessons with the boys. But man, oh man, it's been a crazy week as far as gaming is concerned, and man, can't wait to get into these topics. Glad we got Psycho on here tonight, so let's do this.
Oh yeah, man, we gonna dive in today. So we're mixing it up just a little bit today, and we'll get into the little format change. But once again, I want to give some quick shout outs in the chat before we dive into the topics and we get to the poll of the week, all that good stuff. Shout out to Cyber, Mr. Bushido. I see you, bro. What's up, Alvin? Glad to see you here. Stuff, Sean, everybody hanging out in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Hit the like button. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. Tell them, get in here, get some of this good content, some of this gaming content for Saturday in your week the right way if you're a gamer, man. So shout out to everybody hanging out with us live, man. We rolling right in to the poll of the week this week, man. And we do this every single Monday. I do it on Twitter every single Monday. So appreciate everybody that do take part in it. Thank you guys so much for taking part in the poll of the week. It's always interesting and fun when I do it. So let's go ahead and kick the show off with that. So let me get it pulled up here. So we had the poll of the week was, what of these games had the best plot twist? So a lot of the games actually were a little older, to be honest with you. So I may have missed a huge group of people on this one, Pong. Now I know how you feel. I know you're going to get to your point, Pong. My streak is over, but let me just finish the poll here. So bonus question, what's the greatest plot twist in a video game of all time? So I had 4 different options. I had BioShock, Dead Space, Spec Ops: The Line, and Shadow of the Colossus. So chat, let me know how you guys feel about those. Which one would be your choice? There was some fantastic plot twists. I missed a lot. I know, chat. People hit me up later on like, what about this game? What about that game? I'm like, oh, Lord, it was on the list. I missed it. So we're actually going to start with our guest here, Mr. Psychonauts. Appreciate you hanging out with us, bro. Which one of them options would you choose, man?
Ooh, good question. What were they again? I'm sorry.
So we got BioShock, Dead Space, Spec Ops.
BioShock. That was it. BioShock, when that ending, or not ending, but when you get to the final boss, that was like, what? Yeah. That right there. I mean, that was one of those games that left an imprint on you, and that's what made it so special. Games like that, and of course, like KOTOR and things like that. But yeah, BioShock was like, when you found that out, you're like, holy crap! All right, let's go. Let's do this.
It was, and once again, chat, I a bunch of missed the list. KOTOR, I missed Portal, a bunch of different games that I missed that wasn't on the list. So you could throw them. Let me know in the chat if I missed something. Let me know down in the chat what you guys thought. Maybe best plot twist of all time in a video game. I guess I'll throw mine out there. Mine actually was Spec Ops: The Line. Now that was probably on the list outside of Shadow of the Colossus, probably the least recognizable. Matter of fact, yeah, easily the least recognizable game on the list. It wasn't some huge AAA game essentially, but that white phosphorus level and the plot twist when you man, look, it was ridiculous. It was like some movie levels writing. You had no idea what was going on until you got to that particular level. Then it was all kind of explained to you, and you realize I'm the one doing all of this. It was ridiculous. It was insane. And once again, a game's a little older, so I understand. I see KOTOR in chat as well too. That one was a big one. I know a lot of people hit me up about KOTOR. That was similar to kind of Spec Ops when you didn't realize what was going on. Then you realize, hey, it's me doing this shit. So shout out to everybody in chat. We're gonna throw this over to you, Pong, because I'm interested. I know my streak was broken this week. I know it was, but did you even vote? I mean, where you at on the poll?
BTK, would you kindly start doing research for your polls of the week, please?
What did I miss?
Would you kindly? KOTOR, hands down, bar none.
Listen.
No.
You're not gonna get away with that. You're not getting away with that.
Egregious.
No. Egregious. Oh my
egregious.
Listen, KOTOR was like the fifth one. I promise you, Pong.
What?
It really was. No.
How?
I mean, out of the four I picked, it was a fifth one. Like it was. I don't know, Pong.
Look, egregious. Coming from an old school gamer such as yourself, this is an egregious error. Okay,
we got quality control, Psycho. If you didn't know, that's what Pong.
Listen, yeah. We had a good thing going here, Blam, and then you had to come with this damn poll, and then you have to miss the GOAT of all time. There is no bigger plot twist ever. And again, there's going to be a whole new. I even hate to say it on the show in case the remaster actually the remake gets done, because it's going to be a whole new generation of people that don't even know what the plot twist is at the end. So I'm not even going to say it out loud. But for people who know, that was the biggest what?
Yeah, it was.
Excuse me.
It was huge. I agree.
And then the plot twist turns out to be, I can't even say it because it's like one of the best moments ever. Anyways, KOTOR hands down. But out of your list, let's assume we're going to ignore
the obvious omission
from the list. Mistakes here. Okay, we're just going to ignore your mistake for a moment. All right, so let's go out of this list. But yeah, it's BioShock for me for sure. Again, there's always gonna. I love Spec Ops: The Line, and that twist was amazing as well. Obviously, they did a great job with it, and it really was. And it's always going to come down to when you do these polls to if there's a favorite in there. And of course, BioShock is one of my GOATs. It's one of my top 10s all time. It's the closest. It's one of the handful of games that comes closest to a 10 out of 10. If there's such a thing as a perfect 10 out of 10, BioShock is
BioShock was close.
It really is one of the closest.
It was really close.
So I'm definitely going to go with BioShock and the whole would you kindly and the twist at the end of that as well. Again, Ken Levine and what he brought with BioShock changed gaming. It was one of those moments. It was something we had never experienced before. Rapture was a world that so many people lost themselves into, and we just had never ever walked through something like that, and then to have that twist at the end on top of it, it just capped it off perfectly.
I think it was the layers, man. It was everything. It was the atmosphere plus the story. Plus it was everything was so next. Like nothing had, you know what I mean? Like that. It was in a completely different realm. In my opinion,
correct, and it changed a lot of people's views of gaming as well. Yeah. We've had moments like that. There's plenty of games that everybody can point to, depending on who you are and what you like. But BioShock really was one of those moments in gaming where it came out, people started playing it. The reviews came out. The reviews were glowing. Oh, absolutely ridiculously glowing reviews. More and more people, that ripple effect, kind of like what we saw with Elden Ring this year, where it became a phenomenon. That happened with BioShock. People started picking it up.
Just no social media. There was no social media.
No. So it was all word of mouth. But friends told other friends, look, you got a 360. You have to play this game. You have to play BioShock. It's one of those experiences you have to have as a gamer. So yeah, I'll go with BioShock on this one. But I don't mind your other picks, but to leave the GOAT out, that's just wrong, man.
All right, Fuzz, I'm counting on you. All right, you got to come right the ship. He can't. I'm getting beat up over here. But
just for me, because of being former military guy, I went with Spec Ops: The Line. That was just the one that kind of stood out for me. Now it's only because, and yeah, I'm probably gonna have to hand in my gamer card. I didn't play BioShock when it came out, so it was one of those things where process of elimination. Haven't played Dead Space yet.
Shame.
Oh my
Shame.
God.
The bell, walking up the street with the
Shame.
bell.
Yes.
So Spec Ops: The Line is the one that I went with. Shadow of the Colossus, yeah, nice plot twist kind of thing. But
Yeah.
it Spec Ops: The Line was the one I went with out of those four. Man, once again, I didn't play KOTOR because I was on PC and PlayStation back then. So
Oh, good
L,
God.
a huge
Almighty.
L. You got
Oh.
a huge L.
I
We
gotta
got-
go.
you gotta give-
Psychonauts, you have to talk more tonight.
Hold on. You're gonna leave me with someone that hasn't played KOTOR? No. Dude, all right, KOTOR was one of those games.
Well, he said he didn't play BioShock. He hasn't played BioShock, Psycho.
no, I haven't played
Oh.
KOTOR, BioShock, or Dead
Oh,
Space.
KOTOR either?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead Space.
Oh wait, let
Listen
him
to
have
this.
it.
PTK.
Let him have it. Let him have it. I was trying to save you, Fuzz, but go ahead and let him have it.
Oh
keep
my
in
God.
mind, back when that was probably out, I was like totally anti Xbox for the fact
true,
that
you were.
Microsoft
To be fair, you were.
screwed the pooch with what was it, Windows ME and Windows Vista as far as for PC gaming. I was like, I'm not touching the Xbox if they can't even get shit right on PC. So, but that was my, I guess hiccup as far as not playing any of the Xbox games back in the day. And that wasn't on PlayStation at the time. I went PlayStation 1, skipped PS2 because I was strictly PC at that point. And then when PS3 came out, it was PC and PS3 at the time. But
Okay.
that's
Well, BioShock
ages
was on
ago.
PS3, so really no excuses there.
Uh-oh.
No, because
KOTOR was PC, so let's go here. Come on,
Okay.
guys.
Well, all right. I'll clarify. I was big into flight sims, fighter jet games, and racing games.
Okay.
And BioShock has no cars or planes that you
No,
are.
you're right about
Fuzz
that.
said, "Get off my back, Pong. Get off my back, Pong."
Would you kindly go play those
Yeah.
games now, please, Fuzz? Thank you.
They're in Game Pass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Are they in Game Pass?
No.
No.
I don't
EA.
think
I
so.
don't think-
BioShock is because EA.
No,
Okay.
that was 2K.
Oh no.
Yeah.
BioShock
Oh,
was
yeah, it
2K.
was
Dead
2K.
Space might be.
Yeah,
Dead
Dead
Spaces.
Spaces.
Dead
Yeah, Dead
Spaces, I
Spaces.
believe, yeah.
And it still holds up to this day because they've got the boost on it, so it does
Yeah.
hold up.
Awesome.
I'm waiting for the remake between that and Callisto.
Yeah, you might as
Protocol.
well now. Yeah, you
I was
might as
gonna say,
well
I
wait for the
mean, I was
remake
gonna say that you got Callisto coming in December. You might as well. Okay. Well, once again, chat, that is always a warm-up topic. Always a warm-up topic, man. Shout out to everybody who vote on the poll of the week. Once again, follow me on Twitter below. If you want to follow me, that's where you're gonna find it.
Mav, stop giving him excuses. We're gatekeeping here, all right, brother? On these, there's a line, okay? We're gatekeeping on these ones, okay?
Man, that boy Pong know how to flip that switch. I tell you that, man. Quality, he wear a lot of hats here at the Shop Podcast.
Remember, Pong Corleone
Pong
from here on
Corleone.
out.
Yeah, get your shit together. Fuzz, you don't want him to pull up, make you a deal you can't refuse. All right. Shout out to everybody watching live. Shout out to Stanley, everybody in chat, Awful Grim Bone, She's No, everybody hanging out, man. We ain't gonna give you too much more grief, Fuzz. It's all good, bro. We gonna get off his back, Pong. All right. Leave that man alone. All right. No, but this is where the change in the show comes, man. I'm gonna hand off the mic and let my two co-hosts kind of introduce the next topics as we kind of go through the show, keeping things moving, always changes. You guys let me know in the chat how you guys feel about kind of the change, letting everything go that way. So we actually gonna get to you, Pong. I know you got a hot one. And this is what I'm definitely looking forward to talking about for sure. So Pong, take it away, bro.
Yeah, this has been hot for 2 weeks, and it continued this week. And of course, it all centers around the Activision Blizzard acquisition by Microsoft and the fun comments, the wrestling match, the smackdowns we are getting out of the Brazilian commission down there that's reviewing this deal, since they do make their documents
Uh-huh.
public, some of them. We of course last week we talked about it here. We got to see Sony's side of things, but then this week we got the response from Xbox.
The clapback? The
Yeah,
clapback?
clapback is light on what happened here. This was exactly what I expected. This is why I said last week, I love when Sony does this. This sparks the fire. There's always sparks within Xbox, but sometimes they let those sparks kind of calm down and they let them kind of simmer. And it takes something like Sony coming out and throwing around their BS, throwing their haymakers, their desperation shots, that they took during this whole process down there. And of course, it probably happened here and, like the EU and every other place it's being reviewed at. It just so happens that, Brazil opens up their documents to the public, whereas we don't get to see the behind the curtains, in these parts. So this gives us that peek behind the curtains, but this definitely lit a fire because Microsoft came back. Their attorneys did a fantastic job of calling out Sony on all of their points that they tried to make as to why this should not go through, why Call of Duty was supposedly in a genre all by itself and untouchable, and nobody can make a game like Call of Duty. So I'm going to read from VGC, who was one of the first ones to report on this. And it comes by the way of Chris Scullion over at VGC, and it says, titles his article, Microsoft refutes Sony's claims that its Activision acquisition is anti-competitive, and then goes on to say underneath that title, the claims are simply unjustifiable under any quantitative or qualitative analysis, end quote, the Xbox company says. So we're going to start here. Microsoft has responded to Sony's claims that its ongoing attempt to acquire Activision Blizzard would be anti-competitive, especially with regards to Call of Duty. Last month, Sony told Brazil's regulatory body, CADE, I guess we'll just go with it if that's how they pronounce it, which is like many regions, is currently studying the proposed deal for approval, that the deal could influence players to switch from PlayStation to Xbox. Of course it could. Shocking. That's what you guys have been doing over there, hence why we don't have Final Fantasy VII, right? At the time, it argued, quote, Call of Duty is so popular that it influences users' choice of console, and its community of loyal users is entrenched enough that even if a competitor had the budget to develop a similar product, it would not be able to rival it. Now, in a 27-page document relating to the acquisition, Microsoft has replied to CADE, attempting to dismiss Sony's claims. Attempting? They did that, okay? Let's go on here. In the report transcribed by VGC, Microsoft notes that while numerous third parties, including Ubisoft and Bandai Namco, gave responses to CADE, Sony was the only company that claimed Call of Duty was in a genre of its own with no competition. Quote, only one third party, Sony, presented materially different opinions than the applicants and other third parties consulted by the SG, Microsoft claims. Sony is isolated in this understanding and curiously even contradicts itself in its response to the letter, as it will be detailed below, end quote. Microsoft goes on to state that Sony doesn't want to see Call of Duty games on Game Pass on day one because it is, quote, resentful of having to compete with Microsoft's subscription service, end quote. Quote, Sony's public statements on subscription games and its response to the SG's letter are clear. The response reads, Sony does not want an attractive subscription services to threaten its dominance in the digital distribution market for console games. In other words, Sony rails against the introduction of new monetization models capable of challenging its business model, end quote. Microsoft also denies Sony's claim that Call of Duty is a category of games in itself, despite the fact that it has a loyal following. Quote, stating that Call of Duty has a loyal following is a premise from which does not follow from the conclusion that the game is a gaming category per se, end quote, Microsoft claims. Go on to say Sony's own PlayStation, incidentally, has an established base of loyal brand players. Such a finding, however, does not lead to the conclusion that the PlayStation or any branded product with loyal consumers is a separate market from all other consoles. Extrapolating from such a finding to the extreme conclusion that Call of Duty is a category of games per se is simply unjustifiable under any quantitative or qualitative analysis. It also lists 5 reasons arguing against Sony's claim that the addition of Activision Blizzard games to Game Pass would lead to an unattainable lead in subscription services for Microsoft. According to Microsoft, this claim is wrong because, number one, it's not part of Microsoft's strategy to remove content from players, and Call of Duty will still be on the PlayStation as a paid title. Number two, data shows that players see subscription services as only one way to pay for the games. Number three, Sony's claims ignore the dynamic nature of subscription services and the fact that Sony has its own too. Number four was redacted for some reason. Number five, there are numerous other games distribution channels and subscription service, many of which include content that isn't available on Xbox. Microsoft also claims that arranging exclusivity deals has been at the heart of Sony's strategy to strengthen its position in the games industry, and that, as well as having its own first-party exclusives, it also has exclusivity deals with third-party publishers. It also alleges, no, we know this is true. We saw the documents from Capcom leak. Listen, this is all true here. I loved how all these journalists ran with alleges. We saw it in writing, okay? Just because you guys didn't believe it at the time, on our shows, we were talking about this April of 2021, we were talking about this when the Capcom leaks came out. It also alleges that Sony actively tries to hamper Game Pass growth by paying some developers for blocking rights in return for them agreeing not to add their content to Game Pass. Finally, and perhaps the strongest indication yet that Call of Duty will remain multi-platform, Microsoft claims that not having Call of Duty games on PlayStation wouldn't make business sense because it would only be profitable if enough people jumped over to Xbox to make up for the money lost from not selling PlayStation copies. In its first response to Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard, published in January, Sony said it expects Call of Duty games to remain multi-platform due to contractual agreements. Of course, the article goes on to confirm that Microsoft said that, Phil said the same thing.
Yeah,
we're gonna honor those contracts just as they did with ZeniMax. But the main points of this article, they took apart piece by piece all the stuff that we heard from Sony last week. Piece by piece, Microsoft's $1,000 plus hour attorneys destroyed the narrative that Sony was trying to set up and play victim with. And we knew this from the beginning, what they were doing. Again, this is business. This isn't, anything different than a lot of people would do in any industry when they are threatened. Now, you guys, as I read through this article, we've been talking about this all week. I'm sure a lot of you read different articles, heard different podcasts talking about this. Everybody's been talking about this, right? This was a very strong response. Some people in the community were very shocked by Microsoft and Xbox's response. Again, as I said, I wasn't. This is exactly why I love Sony doing this stuff, because it does get Microsoft fired up, and they're going to protect their business as well. They've done all the work here to get to this point in 2022, to turn that entire ship around. They built up Game Pass, xCloud, all the accessibility that they've gone for. They're trying to reach 2 billion, 3 billion people. And here's Sony trying to say that one game, Call of Duty, is going to be unfair. Unfair to have it in Game Pass. So I want to get your thoughts on this, guys. You can break this apart however you want to.
Oh yeah.
But with Sony, let's start with our guest first, of course, Psycho. And Psycho, you and I have had a chance to talk about this too on a couple of shows here. But Psycho, brother, what is your opinion of what Xbox did with this response? And has it changed your mind at all? I know you were already on the same side, but whatever. Have it changed your mind at all? Or have you had any different thoughts ever since you kind of heard Microsoft and Xbox break down a lot of what we've been talking about over the past year? What do you think, brother?
Well, from what I got from Microsoft was that they're just not going to lay down this time, or this generation. That they saw what Sony's been doing in the background, and they just had enough. It's awesome to see that they're vocal, letting people know. But listen, what you guys been suspecting is actually happening. As for whatever reason, the media is just like, oh wow, no, this can't be true. Back in April, and it's like, no, yeah. Everyone's like, oh, you're just being a Xbox fanboy, and it's like, nah, not really. I'm like, we've heard rumblings and whatnot from first. It was, the whole what was it, Fortnite having with the cross play, they have to, dip in an extra. If you want cross play for PlayStation, you have to pay royalties more. It's just ongoing. It's just a bad look for Sony, and it's just like I don't get it. It's like people are like, but it's okay because it's Sony. But you damn well know if this was Xbox doing the same thing, holy crap, everybody and their mother would be writing about it, screaming it
Well,
from
we're
the
seeing
top.
it right now, right, Psycho? We're seeing it with this, right? We're seeing it now that
I was gonna
Xbox is out
say,
here making
now-
big acquisitions. We're seeing that pushback, like, hey,
Now
they can't do this. They can't do this. This isn't fair, right? We've seen that.
Yeah, we're seeing Xbox being more aggressive. The Xbox that we used to know from the 360 era, when they're doing timed exclusives or getting certain titles onto the Xbox. I mean, we saw a lot more JRPGs during the 360 because they were aggressive. They knew what the player base wanted, and they wanted to give variety. Now that's the whole thing. And variety, there's nothing wrong with giving your customers variety. We had Call of Duty as the marketing rights for the 360, and that where everyone was playing was on Xbox 360. And it's just, and now that Sony took the mantle of that, now they're up there on their ivory tower, and now Xbox is not taking it lying down anymore. They're like, no, this is not fair. We did not want this out of Microsoft. No. We wanted the docile Microsoft, the docile Xbox that we ran over during the Xbox One era. And they, and look where we got. They birthed Game Pass out of what happened, which is, my things happen for a reason. But as gamers, I'm kind of glad that now we have Game Pass, because that's a whole, with everything that's going on right now, that adds value. And right now, value is a big thing in my books. But I just don't get why Sony is crying of receiving what they were giving out for so long.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to delay the inevitable,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're just they see what's coming. They know the perfect storm is brewing. They can't stop it, but they're trying to trip it up any way they possibly can to give themselves more time, right? Because as Xbox pointed out in these statements, and I'll bring you in on this, PTK, as Xbox pointed out in these statements, what this comes down to is business model. Sony's still trying to play by the old rules because of how much it's going to cost them to come over to the new game, to the new playing field. And they don't have those types of resources on hand to instantly flip the switch like Xbox did, right? And so a lot of this comes down to Sony just wants to hold on as long as possible to that original business model that made them dominant for decades. So PTK, in your opinion, with these comments, this shot back, this smackdown that Xbox kind of put on Sony with their whining, their fake concern, their fake we're victims here kind of mentality that they had the week prior that we heard from them. With you, when you heard Xbox come out firing, did it surprise you? Did it shock you that Xbox came back so strong? Did you like what you heard out of this? What were your thoughts when you first heard about it?
So there was a couple things, and this is so funny. There was a couple things about it specifically, right? One, it's kind of ironic that this is all happening, right? So this is essentially, they've been playing chess. They've been playing checkers with Xbox for the last 15 years. Xbox went home and brought back a 3D chessboard, and they're like, "What the hell is this?" What their 3D chessboard being Game Pass and going to spend a bunch of goddamn money to beef up their studio, their first party. And they're like, well, Sony's like, what is this? I'm playing checkers, right? Like, no, we're playing checkers. That's the game we're playing. Like, this is not what's supposed to happen, right? So they're not as agile. The facts are they don't have enough. They don't have as much money. They don't have the infrastructure. Like you said, you've brought this up, and you're probably the only person that I've heard bring this up. Sony had an opportunity to do something very similar before Xbox, and they bought Gaikai for $300 million. I don't even know when back. It was probably 2012, 2013. right
Yeah,
before the
2013,
consoles came
2014,
out,
yeah, somewhere
2013,
right on it.
2014, for
Yep.
PS Now, and they could have taken the same step. They didn't see things that way. They still were banking on selling God of War 20 million, Spider-Man 20, and those games did do phenomenal. And they're phenomenal games. But at the end of the day, Xbox changed the rules. They created Game Pass. They saw where things were going, like they traditionally do. This is not a first for Xbox. That port on the back of your Xbox and that PS3 or PS4, PS5 that you were playing with, that was on an Xbox to begin with. You know, a lot of Xbox does these things quite about once or twice a generation. You know, a lot of times they kind of go swept under the rug, but in this particular instance, I wasn't surprised. It was BS anyway. We already know the whole issue with COD and the whole marketing issue and everything, and them throwing everything out there. Once again, it's trying to slow things down. It's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. You know, you're a speed bump in the road. Just get out of the way. Let things happen. Now, the one thing I do want to say about Sony, it's unnecessary to me that they did this, that they went by it this way, that they approached it this way, Pong, because you didn't need to do anything. Sony, you still have the benefit of a very strong brand. You still have the market share by all means at this current point in time. Even not dropping games and not being consistent, not having E3s for 3 years in a row, you still have a great market share. You still have that brand name. Xbox is still trying to gain that. You already have that. So something like this felt a little bit cheap, if that's the word I could use.
Sure. That's one way to describe it, right? Because they took the low, again, they're throwing haymakers because they are on the defensive and they know it. And they know they're losing, that the heavyweight that they had on the ropes in Xbox was almost out of the game, and they got complacent and they relaxed. And now that's coming back to bite them in the butt, because again, they had the chance to take the lead. They chose not to. They chose to just rest on their laurels, and here we are now. So now they're throwing haymakers. So now they are getting cheap. They are going back to petty Sony again. So, right?
I want to respond. Yep. I'm sorry about that. I want to respond to Gabe real quick. Shout out to Gabe. Appreciate you, bud. Cali Kid 619. You said, why would Sony PS change if they are still making a killing? Well, because the rules changed. That's why. They were forced to. That game is over with. We're not playing checkers anymore, Gabe. That's no longer the game anymore. Xbox saw where things were going with trying to reach 4 billion people. Once again, we're looking at a far larger market than we ever have in any generation. They saw the far larger picture, which is way further down the road, by the way. Mm-hmm. You know, there's nothing wrong with Sony's business model, so to speak. Just the rules change. That's all that happened. So go ahead. I don't know if you want to piggyback off that, Pong.
Yeah, no, I was going to piggyback off that because, it again, for decades, Sony made the rules. Sony created this game, right? They got Sega out of the game. Again, not all part on PlayStation. Was a lot of internal stuff at Sega that caused it, but they saw a weakened opponent. They took them out, right? Between Sony's rules and how they were playing the game and Xbox entering the picture and creating a stir with the 360, Nintendo decided to pick up and do something different because they saw a different portion of the gamers in the mobile market and said, you know what, we don't want to create the top of the line console hardware anymore. We're going to go do this mobile cheap thing where we can make money on everything, and we're going to go create our own little game over here. And it's been highly successful. Again, we leave Nintendo out of this because they're not on the competing with the same game as Sony and Microsoft has been. So it's been Sony's rules this entire time. Like we had the Jordan rules when Michael was playing. We had the Jordan rules, which were real if you go watch the games. At the same time, he had earned that. Sony created the rules, they created this huge market, and they were dictating what would happen within that. Now that Xbox was forced, because due to the situation they were in, they were on the ropes.
And it was self-inflicted, to be fair.
Self-inflicted, absolutely 100%. But they were on the ropes. Phil and his team had to convince Satya why Xbox could move forward. So what they did was they looked at the game and said, listen, we've been trying to play this game. It ain't working anymore. We're not going to do this. And oh, by the way, we think that we're capped in this console market, and we think there's a bigger play out there. And that's how they convinced Satya, because they rolled it into the Azure servers, which of course is a pillar of Microsoft. All of that, they sold Satya on this idea that they could do something with 2 billion, 3 billion people instead of 150 million cap. Guess what? They did it, and they had the resources. Once Satya backed it, that was it. Game over. They were moving forward. They did that. So now Sony's in the position. Again, Sony ain't dying. Okay, none of us are ever going to say that. Worst case scenario, Sony carves out their little niche like Nintendo and lives on if they absolutely had to. I don't think that's what they're going to do, but that'd be worst case scenario, because they do have a loyal fan base. They have a back catalog of IP, and they are masters of certain things. But at the same time, if they want to get into this new game, they are going to have to change their business model. And they now know, because the leader of this movement is Xbox, Xbox is now going to dictate the rules. Xbox is the one that's going to be in charge. They know they're going to be at a disadvantage by playing the same game. Even if they are forced to do it, they don't want to make that change quicker than they have to, because they can't do it fully. So that's where Sony is now at the point of losing. And again, it's not going to be happen overnight. It's happening little piece by little piece, but they see this perfect storm going. Fuzz, I want to bring you in on this.
Yeah.
We don't get to see behind the curtains very often. That's why this shit is so exciting to all of us that are nerds for this stuff, that are this deep into the community, right? That look at the business side of things, not just as gamers, but we just are intrigued by what happens. And this industry is the most secretive industry, and I have no idea why. I don't get it. It's like literally like military secrets here. Like this is like, you look at movies, we know the budgets. We know how much the actors are getting paid. We know the weekly ticket sales. We know approximately what the marketing is costing them. We know everything. But in gaming, that's all hidden. So here we are, we get a peek behind what happens. We've gotten to see some of the deals, whether it was the Epic Apple, the suit that kind of went through, that some things got leaked that weren't supposed to be leaked to the public, or the Capcom leaks where we saw the original contracts where Sony was starting to dictate terms that you could not put games in Game Pass. All this is now coming out, and now we see Sony and Xbox, the attorneys, the legal side of things behind the scenes. This is exciting stuff, Fuzzy. When you look at this and you got a peek behind the curtains, what stood out to you amongst all of this? What was the couple of big things that stood out to you?
Well, a lot of things as far as when it came to confirming the Capcom leak, like you had discussed earlier. I think that was the biggest thing where a lot of people just kind of blew it off. And I think we kind of knew that Sony had to be doing something, and the whole deal with the crossplay from the Apple and Epic deal, where it was like, oh, if you want to do crossplay, you have to pay us for the amount that we lose. So we knew Sony had to be doing something to kind of strong arm a lot of these companies back there. I get it. When you're the market leader, people are going to want to put product on your platform just because you have the most eyes able to look at the product and possibly purchase the product. But still, it seemed like there was a little extra going on, like some secret handshake or backroom deal that they kept on, holding over a lot of these devs or publishers' heads. So I think that whole Capcom leak, looking back at that, and then the info that basically Microsoft's lawyers exposed in this, back and forth is really shining some light on how the game is played. Like you talk about with everything being so secretive, other than the automotive industry, I don't think there's any other industry in the civilian space that's as competitive or as secretive as tech in general. And gaming is probably the pinnacle of tech as far as what is constantly innovating, what is constantly having new experiences and things like that. So they are definitely keeping things tight to the chest. And unfortunately, sometimes big companies, really big companies like Microsoft, it's hard when you have almost 200,000 employees to keep everything secret, but they're getting better at it. Sony just seems like, I don't, and I don't mean to make any like disparaging references, but it's almost like you could tell somebody's back there with a katana, like, yeah, you speak, we're cutting your throat kind of thing, or they blackball you, which
Yeah.
I've even heard some devs or publishers get blacklisted and things like that if they go against the grain. So,
Well, we saw it in
Sony,
journalism too. We've heard it from journalists that does
Mhm.
happen from Sony as well. Again,
Oh, yeah.
they were calling the
Yeah.
shots, right, Fuzz? They were
Oh,
calling the
yeah.
shots the entire time.
And that's the thing. It's like, and this is not to say that every company isn't going to take that route when they're in a power
Yeah,
position. Like,
yeah.
if we want to look back at the 360 era, like I was a PS3 guy, and I was like, why are all these games on the Xbox? And the funniest thing was, like, even Grand Theft Auto, like when it came out, Grand Theft Auto 5, when it originally came out, the 360 had, visual features that the PS3 didn't. Like anything that was like fabric, like wind sails and things like that, were blowing in the wind on the 360. They were invisible or not visible on the PS3, and I didn't notice that until somebody showed me gameplay from a 360. I was like, wait, what? How do they have wind sails and stuff, or flags blowing in the wind and stuff? And then it was like, oh, we got a patch later towards the end of the PS3. But I always assumed like Sony was, oh, they, I kind of fell for the Kool-Aid or whatever you want to call it, with, oh, that cell processor, it's the most powerful and all. But they other than the PS3 kind of being that humbling experience for them, they were definitely strong arming some stuff in the background. PS3, they lost a little bit of their mojo and got it back towards the end, and they went full bore with the PS4
dude.
generation. So shady deals eventually get exposed or come to light, and you reap what you sow kind of deal. So right now, as much as they want to complain to Brazil or other regulators and things like that, they've kind of played that same card, or played the things that they're complaining about to some extent in other ways or fashion. So to address Gabe's question as far as what Sony losing may look like, now this is not going to be a short-term thing. I would say two possible long-term looks would be, one, publisher. I mean, look at Sega. They're still producing games. They're not producing hardware, but they're producing games still, and they're doing well at it. They may not be doing as well right now as Capcom in comparison, but overall, they're not struggling like they were when they had to kind of bow out of the hardware sales. And then long game, possibility number two is somebody with the same type of bank account or pockets as a Microsoft looks at it. Sony agrees that,
Buzz reading the tea leaves.
they need a sugar daddy to some extent, and Amazon or Apple, kind of foots the bill. So, I mean, Sony's not going away completely by any stretch or means, and I don't foresee them really bowing out of anything within the next 5 years, or even this generation for that matter. Will they be a bit bruised or battered? Possibly at the end. Will they lose market share? I kind of saw it before this generation even started. Like, if you look at the history of gaming, everything flips almost every generation, and I don't know why. Now, that being said, I have no idea how Microsoft could possibly screw up next generation, but the way the cards are, it just seems like somehow they'll stumble unless somebody else just comes out the gate bigger, like Amazon next gen or Apple next gen, and they pretty much wow everybody in amazement with whatever they're offering. But this whole deal in Brazil, very interesting, very exciting as far as seeing, since the face of Xbox can't really, get into the gutter kind of thing, seeing the high paid lawyers go and basically rebut all of the BS is very entertaining. I'll just leave it at that.
It is very entertaining. And it's a couple of your points. The market has changed. So when you say lose market share, it's all relative now, Fuzzy, because now it's no longer just the console market. Now it's not that 150 million. So they might lose a portion of that, but how much are they going to lose to the 2 billion, 3 billion that's out there? that Microsoft is going to gobble up and take that lead just like Netflix did all those years ago. How big is that lead going to get with what Xbox is doing? So that's all relative. I think it's obvious that their market share is going to take a dip this generation, even from just a console standpoint. But overall, we could be talking about even a bigger loss in terms of what the future holds as Microsoft continues to gain momentum in other areas that Sony just has not invested in.
Yeah.
They chose to invest in VR, which is very niche. But they've chosen, they took a big chunk of R&D and resources and have put that into VR, and that could be the future. Now that
could be,
when
yeah.
that happens, we don't know, but that is something that they chose, where they could have taken that R&D money, put it into their cloud streaming, put it into their subscription service, and been the leader in this whole time, but they chose not to. So they've gone a totally different route, but I think that is definitely something that's going to come up. And I think to your points too, Fuzzy, as we look at these deals with the Capcom leaks and Apple, Epic versus Apple and all that kind of stuff, as people start to realize that this stuff does happen in this industry, again, I don't fault Sony. They had an advantage as a bully, as someone who was dictating terms. And in business, that's what you do. You use that advantage. However, the comeback to that is, if you lose that advantage, there's going to be a lot of people out there who look back at those deals and go, damn, we shouldn't have done that deal. Speaking of Capcom with the Street Fighter and how much Street Fighter lost, right?
Yep.
People are going to look back at that, and when a new option comes along that now all of a sudden offers you much greener pastures and a much friendlier face in Xbox and their deals, and having a big, huge pool of people ready for your games in a subscription service like Game Pass or xCloud that might be coming down the road here soon, where you can purchase games through xCloud, that's going to be like the turnabout, right? That's when those publishers are going to go be like, yeah, guess what, Sony? Remember when you used to be that big bully on the streets and we just had to sign your deals because we were afraid that we'd get blackballed? Yeah, guess what? We're going to go sign this deal with Xbox now. That's when that karma comes back, right? If you are no longer the bully, everybody's going to be out there hunting for you. And that's what's going to happen here with Sony. So depending on their relationships, we know they have a couple really good ones like Square Enix, etc. But depending on their relationships, a lot of those people are going to turn around and be very, very generous when it comes to Xbox coming through the years, as they can cut deals with them that are much more lucrative, and they don't have to worry about that Sony backlash anymore. So I think that's a big point that's coming out of this, and Sony sees it. Sony sees it's happening, and that's where we're going. So great points, all of you brothers. Appreciate you helping me out with that topic. So thank you.
No, that's good. That's good. Awesome, man. Awesome. Clap it up for Pong, man.
That was
doing
awesome.
a damn thing, bro. That was awesome. See, look, I had to kick back, just have a drink, go use the bathroom, come back. Man, I'm over here relaxing. This is awesome. No, but shout out to Pong. Appreciate it, man. Well, like, once again, show him some love in the chat, and great breakdown, everybody, as well, man. As always, panel, let us know how you guys feel about the topics that we're talking about. Obviously, this is for entertainment for you guys, and we love to hear what you guys have to say. It's always super entertaining. So we actually gonna roll this over to Fuzz. Fuzz got a topic on deck, and we'll dive into that as well too. So take it away, Fuzz.
All right, now mine. I'll be honest. I didn't put as much time into picking a topic, and this was kind of before we got some breaking news as far as some additional, delays. This was more so off of the back of the Warhammer 40,000 Warhammer
Dark Tide.
Dark Tide.
Yep.
And just looking at the remainder of 2022, I just wanted to kind of get your guys' feel as far as what you're looking forward to that will still more than likely, make it to the finish line and release during 2022. Like, I know this is like the year of delays, and it's almost like every week it's like, okay, another dev puts a little post where it's like the letterhead and stuff, and it's like, oh, we're our game's so ambitious and we're sorry, but we're going to need more time to get everything worked out. And understandably so, because the whole deal, you only get once to make a first impression. And at this point, considering we're still coming off of the pandy and all that stuff, it's in the best interest of the consumer, so that way we don't have some of the speed bumps that we saw with things like Battlefield and so forth. But all things considered, given all the delays that are have been announced so far, and I'm pretty sure that they'll continue as time goes on, are there games that have either already come out this year for you guys, or are there games that are coming out soon that at least have gotten a gone gold listing that you're looking forward to that will kind of get you through the remainder of 2022?
Okay, all right. We're
So
gonna start with our
start
guest.
start off with
Yeah.
Psychonauts, since you're the guest.
Oh, thank you. I got a game that's coming out this year that I'm
Or may have already come out that will at least hold you over until a lot of the releases for 2023.
I know I have hopefully Scoring still comes out, fingers
Mhm.
crossed. Mav, don't fucking jinx this. But I'm hoping Scorn comes out. Scorn, and there's just so much like Cult of Lime just came out. There's a lot of games. I got a lot of games in my back catalog as well. So
Mhm.
I'm, what does trickle out in 2022, I will pick up. But if they're what really stands out, like I said, Scorn is one of those titles that I will pick up and play, and it's only like 6 to 8 hours. It's not like a huge adventurous type game, but
Mhm.
it looks creepy. I love it. But like Hogwarts was one of those titles for this year,
Yeah.
but that was like, you know what, that game will put me. I'll just play that until Starfield comes up, but that got delayed, so now I'm just like, all right, well, there's some stuff I'll probably pick up, but more than likely I just finish my back catalog and just chip away at that, because Game Pass just it gives us so many options and so many games that I'm like I can't play everything. 2023 is just going to be insane. That's all I'm going to say. That first quarter, if anyone wants to delay, can we delay some of those games into the second half of 2023 so this way it's not so congested? That's all. That's all.
Yeah, because February is already looking like it's going to be a stack month right out the gate type of
Oh my
deal. So
God,
it's like
yeah.
the backlog of 2023 is going to be one to break all backlogs. But Pong, what are some of the games that you're looking forward to that have either already come out in 2022 or that may still come out, fingers crossed, before the end of this year to kind of hold you over to the flood of next year?
Well, like I said, my budget took a gigantic hit, so I'm going to be looking at Game Pass and stuff. But I'm in heaven. I'm still in heaven. There's still so much coming out this year, especially because I'm a JRPG guy. Especially since we've got Persona 5 coming into Game Pass, right? I am set. Then I talked about it in the opening, right? Field Chronicle. That's looking like it's going to be gold. They released the demo. I don't think that one's getting delayed. So Field Chronicle is going to hold me over. I got Soul Hackers 2 coming out this month. I'm still picking up that. We're talking about these are 100+ hour games. Okay, so I am covered. And then of course you've got things like A Plague's Tale Requiem coming out. That's
Game
Pass.
fantastic.
Game Pass.
Yeah.
Game
Yes.
Pass. Thank you very much.
That's another one.
Yes.
That's another
There's
one.
a ton of them, man.
Yeah, A Plague's Tale Requiem is
Plague's
definitely
Tale.
going to be awesome. I got High on Life coming. High on Life is going to be absolutely incredible. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I know for a fact that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is not getting delayed. Okay, so that is a safe bet. And by the looks of it, Call of Duty is back again. I have not been this excited for a Call of Duty in a very long time, so that is definitely going to be on my list of things to play. So I'm covered. I am definitely okay going to wait to 2023, and I think that there's going to be plenty. I know there's some people out there obviously very disappointed with how 2022 is turning out. I think all of us as gamers wish there were more big AAA games at the end of the year. And obviously, hopefully, God of War is not going to get pushed for the PlayStation side. I hope they get that game this year, and I hope they are able to enjoy it. But overall, if you are a gamer who does play more than just AAAs, there is so much coming still that is incredible. We got Timesia next week, which is a little indie title that's looking absolutely incredible. Steel Rising is still on track, which is coming as well, which looks great. We got Fighters coming out. We got JoJo's Bizarre coming out. That looks absolutely incredible. Evil West is still on track as of right now.
That was on my list.
Yeah. Star Ocean, another JRPG that looks like it's going to be coming out this year. So you've got games nonstop. Tribes of Midgard is coming next week, I think, or the week after. Yeah, to Xbox finally. Yeah,
nice.
and it's only $20. It's only $20. So yeah, that's finally coming out as well. So there are games for 2022. There is a plethora of games. Yeah, it may not be the big ones we are expecting. Again, you all know me. Starfield still hurts every day. I would be a couple months away from playing that game, and it still hurts every day to know that I'm not going to be taking off time work on 11/11/22 to play that. But you know what? I'm going to be set. I am happy. There's plenty to go around right now. Golden Age.
Nice.
Okay, I just want to say I want to change my list at what Pong said.
All you gotta do is look at chat. All you gotta do is look at the chat. Dead ass. A bunch of
So yeah, I changed mine to Pong's list.
No, that's fine. Because there's a lot of games that kind of fly under the radar that we've kind of either forgotten about or they haven't really pushed as much because the devs are probably got their head down and chipping away at getting this thing hopefully out this year and stuff like that. But
and you know what's really cool, Fuzz, too, just to end this, what's really cool, Fuzz, is for all the developers out there that are able to get their games out this year, this is prime time for them, right? A lot of those games that would have fallen by the wayside had the big titles been released now are going to get the spotlight as people are hunting for something to play, right? So a lot of these games are going to benefit. So that's
unless
that's
you're
the
that
good
game
part.
coming out right next to God of War. What was that game that did?
You're talking about the Ubisoft.
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones.
Yeah. Forgot about that too. Skull and Bones is coming.
That'll pick up on Black Friday when it's half off. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, it'll be half off in 2 weeks. I promise you. Ubisoft games do not take very long to get $20-$30 off. So I feel you on that.
So PTK, what are some of the games that you still have your eye on for hopefully the remainder of 2022?
Like these gentlemen said, it's stacked. I know it doesn't feel like it, like he said, because of the huge omissions, Starfield, Redfall. We definitely expected those to be here this year, but it feels like it if you're an Xbox fan and you primarily play on Xbox, that's a big hit. But there's a shit ton of stuff coming out. Like you said, Callisto Protocol, that's coming in December. I'm looking forward to Evil West. Isn't Evil West Game Pass as well?
I believe so.
I believe it's not.
No.
Okay.
No,
it's not. All right, that's fine.
Nope. Has not been announced for Game Pass.
No. Okay, that's fine. If it's not, that's okay. I don't know why I thought it was. And you got, like you said, you got the Plague's Tale Requiem. You got a bunch of games that are coming out that I'm going to pick up. Like I said, if you have Game Pass, you're going to be able to play a lot of those games as well. I'm still looking forward to a ton of stuff. I wasn't obviously. We all were hurt by the Starfield thing, but it didn't really move anything for me not being able to play it this year. I want that game in particular to be as best as it possibly can be. We don't need that game to fumble out of the gate in any circumstances at all. So I'm okay with the game being moved. I understand. But yeah, it's stacked for us. Like there's really no reason. And on top of what people are already playing, we still have things coming out that have already come out this year. The backlogs are still full, things like that. We still have the stuff that we always go back to. I'm still going to play Division 2. I'm still going to play Destiny 2. We're still going to have people playing the Maddens, obviously Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. A lot of fans are looking forward to that, hoping to get that old COD feeling back because it kind of seems like they're going back to that. But
speaking of which, PTK, did you even realize that Madden's coming out next week? Did you?
No, I didn't even know. No, I didn't even know. No,
Steele and I talked about it this morning. I saw it on the list, and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What happened?" I'm not seeing anybody talk. I know it's still going to sell 10 million copies, but nobody's talking about Madden anymore. We used to get the full covers from Game Informer, the full review of all the new mechanics that they were upgrading that we all knew was BS, but whatever they were highlighting them. Listen. We haven't heard anything from Madden outside of John Madden being on the cover. That's like the only thing that I've seen. It's crazy. I did not even realize it was coming out next week. Madden used to be one of those moments like Call of Duty where people took off of work and it was Madden week, right? Yeah. Now, man, how quick things change, man.
Crazy.
Oh, man, it's crazy.
It's insane. But just to But great point, by the way, Pong. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff that I'm looking forward to. I like I said, I wasn't that moved by those games being moved because I want them to be as best as they possibly can be, especially for kind of Bethesda themselves kind of first offering the Xbox outside of some of the back catalog that they brought forward and games that they already had. So I'm hyped. You know what I mean? Like I can't wait to Saints Row as well. I can't forget about Saints Row.
Yeah.
Can't forget about it. I did not, and maybe somebody in chat can answer this. Chat, please. What's the discourse around Saints Row? I don't understand it. Every time I see that game, it looks better and better and better. It looks exactly like how I would envision a next gen Saints Row should be: crazy, chaotic, loud, explosion. A Michael Bay movie, pretty much. Like that's what it is, right? It doesn't take itself too seriously. Like that's I don't understand. Maybe you guys can explain.
The characters.
BTK. I think it was the female
characters?
boss that they showed, the new crew not being the old crew. They look like hipsters, or at least that's the term that a lot of people use. And I think that's where a lot of people are like, oh, this isn't Saints Row I'm used to. And it's like, they eventually need to change. You can't.
I'm right here, Fuzzy. I'm right here, Fuzzy. Stop talking about me, okay? Listen. I said from the get-go, I hope Saints Row takes off. Again, there's a lot of things in my life that have changed that I just no longer enjoy, and I'm cool with it, right? But honestly, there is some valid criticism that Saints Row established a certain way of doing things, and they are losing that way, in my opinion. They are not the Saints Row of old. It's just, we had this discussion about Grand Theft Auto, toning down a little bit potentially, and if that would mean that it's Grand Theft Auto anymore. To me, this does not feel like Saints Row. It feels like an action game, and all the action looks great. PTK, don't get me wrong, the open world looks cool, whatever. But the overall feel of the game, to me, with these new characters, is lost. It's not the Saints Row of old. And again, if that's the way it has to go, so be it. It's just not going to be something I pick up anymore, right? So that's all it is. I think for a lot of people, we want the old Saints Row attitude, and this one does not appear to have that.
But
so
the old Saints Row, people were complaining about that too. That didn't blow anybody out of the water either.
No, Saints Row 2, Saints Row 3 was the last one that was really Saints Row. Saints Row 4 is where you started hearing the discourse with the aliens and the superpowers and all that kind of stuff. That's where they kind of jumped the shark, right?
I mean,
but
go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
No. That's fine, PTK. Again, if it is what it is. I'm not going to be out here on Twitter going under people's exciting posts trying to tear them down. Be like, why do you love Saints Row? I'm not that guy. I hate that stuff. I hate that. If you don't enjoy it, just move on. And that's what I'm doing, right? It's just like, it's not something that appeals to me. If it ever shows up in Game Pass, I'll download it and try it out. But some of the missions that I've seen that they've got in this game, look, man, it's like a nightmare TikTok scenario. I have no interest in that. I just really don't. So again, the open world looks great, the action looks great, but everything else about the game just does not appeal to me. But that's where
fair.
People I think mostly have the problem.
So I will respect your opinion too, because I know how much you enjoy Saints Row. I know how, but it just seems the discourse seems a bit odd considering that we haven't really seen considering even the community itself, a good iteration of this game in a long time. So I just feel like this one should give it a chance. We can only, what they're giving us so far, we can only, pick out so much. But to me, from what I envision from a Saints Row, like it's completely different than you. I get that. I don't really see maybe what you see, in particular, but I get it. Once again, you're a big Saints Row fan. I will give you concession on that, and that's fair. So we'll see how well it does when it does come out, though. So
yeah. Well, for me, as far as my list of games I'm looking forward to, Saints Row is on that list for me, and it's just for the chaos aspect of it. For me, what Saints Row 3 was like the pinnacle for me. Saints Row 2 was pretty good. Saints Row 1 was, it had its ups and downs, but Saints Row 2 was, I think, better than 1, and then 3 just because of the wackiness. And no, it doesn't need to have dildo bats or anything like that to make it what it needs to be type of deal. But I understand what Pong is saying as far as like the difference as far as how it appeals, although they do still have the insurance fraud, which was one of my favorite aspects of it. So I'll I'll go with that one, and then I'll probably just spend more time playing Insurance Fraud. Although they now have it where you blow up the cars as opposed to just constantly bouncing off the same bus or
The
truck type of deal.
ragdoll and the ragdoll effects are still amazing. I've been playing it again, and it's so much fun, man.
Yeah, but overall, like kind of like what Shansu was saying earlier, I was actually looking forward to hopefully having motorsport this year, and with it being pushed to 2023, I guess I'll just be continuing to play, some more Forza Horizon and my Gran Turismo to kind of give me that, or fix or scratch that racing itch type of thing. But my big games that like at least what have already come out or what are soon to come out type of thing, and will more than likely come out no matter what, are like High on Life, which I understand that one is still a possibility.
Don't you do it, Fuzz. Don't you do that shit,
I'm
man.
not going to jinx it, but that one is one that I'm definitely looking forward to. And if we should see anything otherwise, yes, I will. You will see me crying on Twitter. May not be a live video, but yeah, you'll see a tear or something. But there's one game that came out on PC that I'm playing on Steam Deck that I hope comes to consoles. It's kind of a Metrovania kind of game called Eyes in the Dark, and that I think would be a nice like indie game. But the indie darling right now is Cult of the Lamb, and as far as like a go-to game, Hades was always like that go-to for me. I've already like basically beat the game, but I still love going through and trying to do faster speed runs or try with different, not really attachments, but like the different weapons and try different combos and see if I can get like a overpowered, build with some of the drops and things. But I think Cult of the Lamb is going to fill that niche right now as far as a nice alternative to Hades, at least for the time being. Um, like I said, Saints Row, which I think comes out in like 2 weeks. That's big on my list. Picking that up on Xbox, and then Callisto Protocol, which I understand that's another one that people are kind of like, will that one be next that we see, a post on Twitter? But that one I'm really looking forward to before the end of the year. Scorn's on there as well, but just being into shooters a little bit more now between Division and Insurgency, and this year being a modern warfare, yeah, I'm looking forward to Call of Duty, and we all know Activision ain't delaying for anybody. Like just short of the thing like making your Xbox or PlayStation catch fire. Yeah, they're not delaying that game. I don't care. They'll patch it with a day 1 or day 2 or day 30 patch before they ever delay that game. But that's basically what I have to look forward to. And just as a side note thing, like I'll do a quick roundabout on this. Saw Spooky on Twitter say something like, "Well, what if some of the games that are pushed to 23 get pushed to 24? What would you do? Psychonauts would that just be it, where you throw your consoles in the trash can, or would it be something where you just fall back to your like old favorites type of thing, or the back catalog?"
It depends on the title if it gets pushed back to 2024. Like I said, the beginning of 2023 is so congested that we for Xbox and PlayStation, we don't know what 2023 is in store for the second half. So if they shuffle some games, I still think Starfield will be the first half. Maybe Redfall will be. Maybe they'll push that back to the holiday. Maybe they'll push Starfield to the holiday. I don't know, but if they push a Starfield to 2024, then you will hear a lot of.
Don't you dare say that with Pong on the panel. Don't you dare.
I know, but I'm just saying there'll be a lot of doom and gloom if that is ever
Holy
brought up.
shit, I don't even want to think about that. Consider, hell no, that is not happening.
I know, but who knows? Because here's Microsoft. They're like, well, we got all these other stuff that will, that people can play. But it's like, nah, but we've been waiting for Starfield since you guys mentioned it, and we've been wanting to play it. So, let's not delay it any longer. Let's get it out. Let's play it. Come on, just release it. Come on. Come on, Microsoft. I know Microsoft's listening. Let's just release it today.
What do you say, Pong? If one of your go-tos for 2023 gets pushed to 2024, back catalog or like
Yeah,
old
no.
favorites, or
I think right now, like Psycho just said, the way that 2023 is now stacked across everybody's platforms, right? I think that there's going to be no end of games. Again, outside of Starfield, okay? Outside of if Starfield got pushed, yeah, you might have to check on me, okay? You might have you might have to make a call and somebody do a welfare check on me, because that's the only one that would put me over the top. But anything else, no, I would not have a problem with it, because I know I'm going to have so much to play next year, no matter what happens at the end of the day. And really, Fuzzy, I talked about this on Living Split Screen this morning, and we talked a little bit on PM to PM too. I think this is the end of this current stretch as we came out of the pandy, and all that stuff kind of happened. I think the industry as a whole is shifting, and I think that these delays are kind of the last parts of that, where I think the industry now going to more publishers, more devs, going to no crunch zone, all that kind of stuff has all played into this. But I also think that the quality control factor is now on high alert, and I think that the devs and publishers are really thinking about whether or not they want to put out a broken game anymore, or a game that needs a little bit more polish, because now that we have so many other things to play, that room for error when you launch a game is really shortened. Yes, we still see comeback stories, and yes, we will continue to see comeback stories throughout the industry, but that there's going to be less and less of those, as people now, if you bring out a game that is unpolished or unfinished, or it has game breaking, or just seems to be like, hey, you guys just threw this out here, people move on and don't come back anymore, because there's too many other options. So I think the industry as a whole is now changing that perspective, and I think that we are going to see less and less games shown really early, and I think we're going to go back to the old days of pubs and devs. And again, we've heard about them even pulling back from social media now as well. I think we're going to go back to the older school style, where pubs and devs wait until they're ready to show a game, and they're not going to give us a release date until they know they're sure they're going to be able to go gold, outside of some unknown game breaking bug showing up or something out of their control. I think that's what we're going to start to see. So I think this is the last bit of it. So I think going into 2023, anything that's announced, we can be more confident in 2023, and especially after 2023, 2024, 2025, I think we're going to have we're going to start being reprogrammed to think of how we used to see games for the last generation and a half or so. And I think that we're going to go back to that old style, where the old heads all realized, hey, if a game is showing and they're giving us a date, they are, for me, I posted this on Twitter, from here on out, for right now, anybody who tries to tell me a release date, I ain't listening to you. So come talk to me 2 weeks before launch, okay? Just I'm not going to see any release dates from here on out for the foreseeable future. But I think this is the end of that. I think that we're finally getting through that, and we're going to see a change in the industry as a whole as it comes to that.
Nice. What about you, PTK? If one of your highlights of 2023 gets pushed to 2024, anything in the backlog, or just focus on Game Pass, or is the console going in the trash can?
I think I would follow suit with it. Just depends on the game, right? Depends on the title in particular, right? So, but yeah, I think I follow suit with Psycho and Pong on that. I mean, there's going to be a ton to play, and I agree with Pong as well. I do think there's a lot more here to the stretch we've been going through, right? There's a lot of things that we just don't consider, right? Obviously, pandemic is still a big thing, or the pandy, as Pong says, right? That's still kind of a big deal. A lot of things changing. People still working remotely. Teams finally starting to come back to the office. That's a huge change as well. So all of that has to get organized. I do agree with Pong that 2023 going forward from that point, probably we'll start to see that cadence. And I'm always of the mind, just on delays anyway, I'm always of the mind that most companies want to hit that release date that they initially put out. Right. So I'm always the kind of cut them some slack kind of a person, because I do truly believe that if you put out a release date, most devs want to hit that. They truly will do their best to hit that date, and things do happen. But it has been extremely consistent in 2022. To I understand, people are like taking the same route that Pong is like, look, I don't want to hear anything about this until like 2 weeks before the game is out, right? So I get that as well. There's gonna be that discourse because I'm of the mind that there are some things that are probably going to end up getting moved because we don't know, and I know Psychonaut said this earlier, we don't really know much about the second half of 2023, right? We know quite a bit about the first 3-4 months. After that, it's smoke. We don't even know what we're getting at that point. Obviously, there's going to be shows coming up that'll give us that information and reveal, little on further down the road. But yeah, it's going to be a game by game approach with me.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome responses on all the questions, guys. For me, I at worst case scenario, I'll always just fall back on my go-tos like Division or Insurgency or Forza or Gran Turismo and stuff. But man, oh man, I still think we're going to have a pretty busy, time as far as gaming between now and the holidays. And I don't even want to think about 2023 between my wallet and free time gaming and choosing, all right, do I buy this one now or wait while I play this one or just play it in Game Pass? And yeah, it's going to be crazy next year. But man, thank you guys for all the responses on that. All right.
Right. Awesome. So we're going to be taking questions and shout out to everybody in the chat. I know I missed a couple super chats. I'm going to go back because we cannot forget about people that support us like you guys all do here at the Shop Podcast. But I want to make sure. Let me scroll back. It's quite a bit of ways up there. Give me a second, chat. Holy moly. Here it is. So we had a $20 super chat from Smitty Smith. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Said, what up to the panel and chat? Great podcast as always. Salute. So salute to Smitty Smith. Chat, show Smitty some love. I think he threw out a second one as well. Let me see. Here it is. Let's see. $5 super chat from Smitty as well. Thank you once again. He said Microsoft hit Sony with the Stone Cold Stunner Book of X. So, nice. I know Pong, I love that one.
Sony got hit with the Stone Cold Stunner. The SmackDown, brother. That's the way it was.
All right. Well, we're going to wait on a few questions, but I'm sure we got much more to talk about. We had a bunch of stuff going on. I know there were some topics that we didn't go over just yet. I know some stuff, Pong, in the DMs. There was a lot of stuff this week that you posted in there. So we should probably go over that too while we're waiting on chat to get through some of these questions that they might have. So let me grab a couple of those. You got anything in there, Pong? We want to grab up out of there?
Well, I mean, we got the THQ showcase. We've got what else we got? We've got, man, talk about THQ real quick here a little bit.
Yeah. Let's get into that.
Outside of what even was shown, listen, they showed 18 games at the showcase. Now, a lot of it was PC, and again, it's coming from THQ Nordic. Smaller games, bigger games, a mixture of both. But then after the show, they came out and said, oh, by the way, we've got 43 games in development. This is just THQ Nordic, one of many publishers underneath Embracer, as we all know. This is one of these were just 18 of the 43 games. We got 25 more games to show you, by the way. So that is just goes to show exactly what we've been talking about nonstop. Why I call this the golden age. Why we talk about, as gamers, these delays. We have so much to play. Yeah, it might not always be for everybody, of course, not. That's not the way it works. But at the end of the day, the diversity in gaming right now, the amount of content that is out there, even if you are missing out on some of those AAAs, the big ones, the ones that we all look forward to that are getting delayed, there's still going to be something for you. And I thought that was just absolutely incredible to hear it out loud, that they actually have 43 games in development right now. Like insane amounts
that's
of content
crazy.
Coming. It really is. But as far as the showcase goes itself, really crazy. We got the leak prior to the showcase happening that Alone in the Dark was coming back. Now listen, Alone in the Dark is an old school horror title, psychological horror, that had a lot of influence on different games such as Resident Evil. Alone in the Dark has been around for a long time. So the younger generation may not even know it because the last one they made was during the 360 generation. And it was very divisive because they changed some of the style and some people really didn't like it. Now, I liked the 360 one. I enjoyed the Alone in the Darks. Now they're coming back with it again. This is why Embracer is one of my favorite publishers right now, man.
Man, they are not scared to put their money where their mind. I appreciate that about Embracer. They empower every studio that they purchase and every dev that they purchase. They do not get in the way of the creative process, and I respect that about Embracer.
No, and they're giving opportunities when they buy this IP. They're not buying the IP to sit on it. They're buying the IP to let the devs go back to work on it again. Again, part of being the golden age is that we're seeing these comebacks from these older IP that we haven't seen in a generation or two coming back again. And this is fantastic. So Alone in the Dark, confirmed. They showed it off. It's going to be set in the 1920s. You're going to have your choice between two protagonists, a female and a male. It's going to be set in Louisiana, so it's going to have that dark spiritual flavor down there, and it's really looking good. It's going to be current gen only consoles along with PC, no last gen. Now, they didn't give a date. Again, thank God they're not giving dates here, but they did show it off. It's looking really good. Now, this is getting borderline too much horror for me from what I saw. We'll see. But I'm still excited that the IP is coming back. So that one stood out. Then they're bringing back another IP. And a lot of people aren't going to remember this. This is one of those AA action RPGs that I loved back in the day, but it was buggy because it was AA. A lot of people just said, nah, this is trash, never played it. But people who played this game loved it. It was a lot better on PC, of course, than it was on the 360 back then. That's where it kind of got its following. But there was plenty of us in 360, shout out to Mav, who played Gothic and loved Gothic. Gothic is coming back, a remake from the ground up. This looks absolutely freaking fantastic. Go watch the video on it. Another action RPG coming. It's going to be amazing. Again, only for current gen and PC too. So again, that's the new trend going forward that we're starting to see. Finally, the last gen is starting to get cut off and we're seeing more current gen stuff, and you can tell from the quality in these games, even if they aren't AAA, even if they don't have the gigantic budgets, you can see the difference already. So that was exciting. Then another game, Outcast 2. Outcast was genre defining when it showed up. A lot of people have never played it. They actually did remaster it. It's actually on the Xbox One. It's actually backwards compatible. You can go buy it and pick it up. Really fun game. Comedy, lots of action. You're kind of like a modern dude that gets thrown into like these alien worlds and all this kind of stuff. But Outcast really did change a lot of things because they tried new mechanics that hadn't been done or seen a lot before. So Outcast really, again, PC wise, was a big hit. And when people went back and played the remaster on Xbox One and PlayStation, a lot of people were like, yeah, but it shows its age. This is not really, up to speed, all that kind of stuff. Well, they're coming out with Outcast 2. And Outcast 2, they showed that off as well, and they're taking it up a whole nother notch, and it's coming back big. It's called Outcast 2 New Beginning, so I'm looking for that one too as well. And then they threw in a couple of different ones. AEW, which we got the leak a couple weeks ago. AEW, the wrestling game. I know there's a lot of wrestling fans out there, and wrestling is making a comeback. WWE obviously had their best game that they've had in years this year. Well, AEW's jumping into the ring now, and that game just looks like pure fun. It's not up to the level per se, graphics wise, as WWE is, because it doesn't have that type of money, but this looks like another solid entry into the wrestling world. And then another one that kind of stood out for me too. There's two more. Recreation, it's called. This looks like the Hot Wheels DLC on steroids, okay? Recreation has got over 280,000 miles of open land to explore. And they've got loop-de-loop tracks, they got jumps, they got craziness going on. You're battling with the other cars, you're making them crash into giant cow statues in the middle of the road. So keep your eyes out on Recreation. That could be a shocker. And then the other one I want to talk about real quick is Way of the Hunter. Not everybody is going to go, oh my God, another hunting game. Yes, I know. Listen, I grew up in a family of hunters, but I can't shoot animals, okay? I just can't do it, okay? But I've been around guns, been around hunting. I understand the concept. So video games give me a chance, and I fool around with hunting games. And some of them are
I do
really
too.
good. Yeah,
Guilty pleasure, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a lot of it. And we know the sim genre is becoming big, right? So this game, Way of the Hunter, go check out the video. It's going to have co-op in it, number one, which is really cool. Number two, go watch ACG's or listen to ACG's review of this game. He is an actual real-life hunter. This guy goes big game hunting. He's been out there in the wilds for most of his life, so he's speaking from experience. He plays a lot of hunting games. He said this Way of the Hunter is at the top of his list now. That's how good this game is. He spent 5 hours tracking a deer in this game. He said, yeah,
Wow.
he said the AI for the animals is some of the best AI he has ever seen, because that's one of the big problems you get in hunting games. Also, the spawning as well. He said the spawning in this game feels really natural. But the big thing that he talked about was the AI with the herds. Now, herd movement is obviously a real thing. If you are going after, let's say, a dominant buck in a herd, and you wind up missing or chasing him, the herd will follow him, okay, in real life. That's how real life goes. You can push a herd into a whole nother, a hunting ground that that you don't have permission or whatever the case. You can actually push the entire herd, which affects all the other animals and species around that area. He says this game delivers that almost flawlessly. He said that this is a real thing that you have to be aware of. So yeah, and he said some of the environments, not all of them, but he said some of the environments you walk through in this game is some of the most impressive that he's ever seen this generation so far. So again, I think Way of the Hunter, if you're looking for that type of game, is going to be something that kind of is that you might want to keep your eye on, and that is coming out next week as well on the 16th. So if you're looking for something new in the hunting arena, walking sim, and listen, ACG even pointed out, if you don't want to do the hunting, it's got an entire photography mode that you can just go and take wildlife photography through the entire game if you want to.
That's kind of
cool. So
yeah,
keep your eye on that one as well. So those are the highlights that I had. They had a lot of other games come out of there. Again, 18 of them. Go back and watch the showcase. A lot of PC games. New RTSs are coming, which look absolutely incredible, which I hope eventually come to console, obviously. But there was a lot of good stuff coming out of THQ Nordic. So great showcase.
Awesome. So yeah, go watch that showcase on. If you didn't catch it live, a lot of people probably didn't. I don't remember the particular day it came on, or it was streaming. I'm sorry, but go back and watch. There's a lot of stuff coming out there. I still got to go through the list myself, so I do want to get to a couple more super chats, man. Got some champs in here today. Appreciate you guys, man. So we got another $20 super chat from Silent Cypher, my guy. Appreciate you, man. Shout out to everybody over there at Xbox International Podcast, Louis Sourbloww. Everybody, man. He said a bunch of legends in here tonight. An awesome panel as always. Happy to be tuning in. Congratulations. Are fire 100. So appreciate you, Silent. Thank you so much, bro. Once again, super chats are always awesome. I believe we got another one in here. A super chat 199 from Gabe. Shout out to Gabe. He said, play what you want on any plastic box. You damn right. You damn right. So we
play what you love what you
love
play.
what you
That's
play.
What we talk about. Yep.
For sure. Hell yeah. So we are 100% into that. So yeah, a lot of great stuff coming out of THQ Nordic. Go back, check out the stream if you missed it. I'm sure all of the trailers are on YouTube. I'm sure you can find them and or Twitter as well. So let's go ahead and once again, drop your questions in chat too. This is your time to take over the show. Whatever we missed, what we didn't get to, go ahead and drop it. Let us know what you guys want to talk about. Let me go ahead and see what else we got cooking up in here. Buzz, we got anything? Yeah, go ahead, Psycho.
I was just gonna say real quick with the Way of the Hunter. It sounds like they're using machine learning with the animals, and if that is the case, the realistic migration of deer
behaviors
and behaviors of all the animals is gonna be next. Machine learning is a next gen tool that we have in console. We have not experienced. That is going to be something that is going to be very interesting, especially, with the whole thing. If you're downwind, the animal's going to smell you, so you or upwind or however that is. So you want to make sure you got to figure out, hey, where's the wind direction going?
Yep.
And all that. So that is very, very interesting if that's what they're using, because we do know that they're capable of using machine learning with these new with the new consoles.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, once again, go check out ACG. Did he do a review on it, right?
Yeah, he did a review on it. PC version, he did a review, and ACG is one of my go-tos. Quality,
quality. Yeah, you're not gonna get no fluff. It don't matter what the game is. It don't matter what game they gave him. He's not gonna fluff.
He buys them. He buys the game. If they give him a code, he gives away the code and actually buys the game. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
buy, rent, or wait for sale, or never touch again. Yeah, he's the OG on that.
Yeah, pretty much. But once again, chat, let us know how you guys feel about these topics. Drop some questions down in the chat. It is your show at this particular point in time. So, Fuzz, what else we missed? We got anything else cooked up?
No, I was just going to answer Bushido's question.
Go ahead.
No, he it's a kind of a joke question, but yeah, I have a beard, so I guess that's where the fuzzy aspect came from. Guy at work
Oh.
gave everybody like Belvedere names, like somebody that always wore a John Deere cap got John Deere. Belvedere was his nickname. So mine was fuzzy because I always had like a basically a scruffy beard type of deal. But as far as for Pong, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got soul. You can tell all that energy. Yeah.
Some people would like to think otherwise, but Pong has a soul. It's very vibrant. It has enough soul for all three of us on this panel. I promise you. So, plenty of juice. But appreciate the chat once again. You guys are all awesome. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. You guys are amazing. So what else are we missing here, man? We had some other stuff happen this week. I know we did. Chat, let us know what's going on, man.
You got Phil visiting all of the studios, one by one, and you seeing pictures of them showing meetings with them and stuff like that.
He was at Rare this past week, wasn't he? Or this week he was at Rare?
Undead Labs, I think, as well. And there was another one, I think.
When's the last time Phil made his rounds like that? I mean, I know he probably does it all the time, but when is the last time we see
Rare
him?
said 4 years ago.
Yeah,
it's been, he dropped into Rare.
Well, I mean, obviously we had COVID, right? That's a lot to do with it as far as him doing this. It's been a while, but
that's right. It was Matt Booty at Undead Labs. I'm sorry, Matt Booty was over there. But they're making rounds now, so obviously they're checking up, making sure everybody's not crunching and staying on track and doing well and no funny business behind the scenes and stuff. But yeah, they're going around and making the rounds now.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Like it's been a minute since he's done these rounds, and it's always exciting because it's like, okay, Phil's showing up. Like, got to put your best outfit on, got to put your best foot forward, and he's going and seeing things in person now. No more of that remote stuff. So you gotta teams are moving now. So I'm excited, man. And you guys think he saw Everwild while he was there?
I kind of think he had to have seen Everwild unless they're working on something completely different. Like,
he was playing something. They had a picture that he was watching something.
Yeah, so that's the one when I posted. Yeah. I'm sure they're gonna show him everything they're doing. Like, it's not like they're whatever any ideas they might have, whatever games they're working on, anything, maybe even in like just a pre-draft stage. I'm sure they're showing him everything.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I would think if they took the time to show him looking at a screen type of photo, it wouldn't necessarily be on Sea of Thieves upcoming content. I think it's probably
something new.
Yeah, it's got to be Everwild or something completely different.
True. Good point. Okay, so let's see what else we got here, man. Let's see. Chat, you guys kind of quiet today. Usually, y'all got a bunch of questions. Usually, so. If you have any questions, chat, once again, drop them in there. Let us know what you guys want to talk about. Anything we missed already on the podcast, anything that we didn't get to this week. So
Gamescom.
Yeah, that's coming up.
That's why Booty and Phil and everybody's over there. They're showing up to Gamescom big time.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot of people are trying to downplay it. Jez is saying temper expectations. He doesn't think anything's gonna come because Gamescom is usually light, but from my perspective, Xbox has got a little extra going on here. Everybody's showing up over there. They've got all their teams showing up, including the xCloud team. People that we never heard of from Xbox before showing up on Twitter saying, excited to go to Gamescom this year. Keely's got a part of this, which already adds a little extra spice. We got some rumors that Kojima could be hinting at an announcement at Gamescom. Listen, Gamescom, I am obviously not going to sit here and be like, this is our second E3 of the year or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination. But the Xbox Wire that they put out did have some interesting little nuggets in there. Lies of P.
Oh, that game looks amazing, man.
Saw that. People kind of forgot about it, but it's been out there. More people are starting to see some things about it. Again, for people who forgot, this is the Bloodborne-like game, but it's set in a dark fantasy Pinocchio. Okay. And it looks super cool. Well, we didn't hear anybody having marketing rights or anything going on with it. It's showing up on the Xbox stage during their 3-hour broadcast. Xbox has 3 hours of time set aside that they're going to be streaming. They're going to have devs up on stage, and they're going to be talking to all these different teams, getting updates on some of the games that we already saw. which they talked about, but Liza P was on that list. And then the last game on that list, and they said that this wasn't everything, but the last game they put on there was Age of Empires 4. Again, we've been waiting on a console announcement here for Age of Empires 4. Could this be? I mean, Age of Empires 4 is always updating. They're always doing stuff. This has been a huge launch for them, so it could be anything. But could this be the spot where we hear Age of Empires 4 console? And then one last little thing that started popping up is the smoke started again, that this is the spot where they finally announced the GoldenEye remake or the remaster, whatever you want to call it at this point. So because we heard, E3 was definitely going to be there, never showed up, but the anniversary is coming up and Gamescom is starting to sound like it might be the spot where they do a shadow drop of GoldenEye for us. So that could be a little surprise. I'm not expecting the world, but the xCloud stuff that came out as well, I don't know, Psycho or Fuzzy want to take that and touch on it, but I think that we could get some surprises out of Gamescom.
Oh, yeah. I 100%. I 100% think so.
I'm thinking we get the Elite 2 or Series 2 in white controller unveiling finally, the official unveiling of that. Like you said, with the Game Pass and xCloud stuff, like I'm fingers crossed that we hear about the family plan going live or when it will go live. But as far as like the xCloud stuff, yeah, a lot of people found a lot of these games listing under the xCloud deal, and then they magically disappeared. And Microsoft said it was a bug. Yeah, what a bug it was. So yeah, hopefully we get some word on that. Especially like you said, hearing a lot of people that are now part of that xCloud team saying, "Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to going to Gamescom." It's like it'd be a perfect time for them to say, "Hey, if you already own Elden Ring, or if you're looking to buy Elden Ring and you already have a Game Pass Ultimate, account, you can stream that without having to sit in front of your console, kind of thing." And that would be a big step forward. Like it was a nice test with the whole Fortnite thing, but man, if you can expand that to pretty much all other games in their store, that's where Luna and Stadia is already on life support, but Luna better step up and have a response at some point if they don't want to get left too far behind or have a big hill to climb when they finally unveil or get out of beta as well.
Yeah. Now, Gamescom is always kind of tricky for me because especially this year, there's so much is going on this year. I damn near forgot about Gamescom. It almost came and went. I don't even know how that would have happened, but I'm excited. Like you said, there's always these little nuggets. Like you said, there's a lot of movement going on the Xbox side of things. And I know Zing asked about, he did say, is Sony coming to Gamescom?
No. They're listed as a partner, but I don't know how big they're going to do.
They were on that big.
No.
Yeah.
They're not?
No, from Games. Who was it? Somebody posted that it was a journalist. They said Sony will not be at Gamescom. They're just a partner. So meaning they probably send in a video for either God of Ragnarok or something like that to get that hyped up because that's just around the corner. But I think that's what the
they're not going to have a presence there.
Not like Xbox.
No,
because Gamescom came on to Twitter and said we want to welcome Xbox back to Gamescom, and they did a whole thing. They listed all the stuff. So yeah, I think we'll just real quick. I think we'll see something that we have not seen because if they're on this 12-month cycle of showing games, well, it's been what 2 months. About 2 months since they did E3, so they might have we might see the little bit trickle effect of what's coming in the second half of 2023. So that's what I believe. We'll see a couple of announcements that we have not seen or heard or forgot about.
But isn't this really cool too, Pong? Like for on the Xbox side of things, specifically speaking, and all you guys can answer this particular question. The versatility, Xbox is like a pocket knife now.
Yeah.
Right? They have we can do. Oh, we don't have no first party stuff. Okay, we can just take a bunch of other shit to Gamescom and show. Right? Like we got a new controller. We still got a bunch of Game Pass stuff. We got xCloud. Like that's kind of cool. Like I don't know if we're like really thinking like if anybody really thinks about it that way, but they've really become this kind of like Swiss Army knife, right?
Well, that's why we talked about too so many times here and elsewhere is what are they going to do down the road? They got to start going to more shows, right? They got to start
Yeah, we
having
did say
some
that.
more shows because they've got so much going on. They've got, again, like you said, PTK, we always just think of the big first party stuff and where's that and whatever else. But they've got all this other stuff going on behind the scenes. They're constantly working on things like xCloud, and they're making updates, and they're going to be offering new accessibility and all that kind of stuff to people. We got the family plan at some point that's got to be taken care of and shown
Got the
off, all
Elite
that kind of
controller,
stuff.
the Elite
Got
2.
the Elite controller too, which again, I know people are sick. A lot of people are sick and tired of controllers. Not all of us spend tons of money on controllers, but it's still got a lot of fans, and some people are going to be really excited for it. So it's just all this little stuff that they can roll together. And again, they've got a 3-hour streaming show at Gamescom.
Man.
Like, it's crazy. Like, when they
Yeah.
showed the times, I was like, 8 a.m. What? I'm like,
Mhm.
holy cow. It starts at like 6 for you guys on the West Coast. It starts like at 6 a.m. I'm like, holy cow. But this is exactly what we were talking about. They can take advantage of the established shows and do stuff like this. And if we get little surprises here and there, awesome. That's what it's about. Again, the Liza P thing showing up on that list, I was like, what? Really? Okay, cool. That means they've got some kind of deal. I mean, that means that they probably have the marketing rights if they're going to show it off on their stage. So just little stuff like that adds up over time. And I think that that's exactly what they can do to fill these spaces like you're talking about, PTK, in between. It's definitely something that they're working on. We know they hired for a specific position earlier this year to start bringing more shows, start organizing more things. So I think they're definitely moving forward with that. And Gamescom is obviously one of the stepping stones that they're using right now.
I agree. I don't know, Fuzz, you want to throw your opinion in on that cycle as well?
Oh no, I was answering some of the questions in the chat, but as far as like with Gamescom, like yeah, I would love to see something else announced. Like I know Jasper had made mention as far as like that's where like Halo Wars 2 and Age of Empires was originally announced, but I'm hoping, much like Pong, Age of Empires console edition is the go-to. But yeah, it's I know they have a few other small things. Like there's also going to be the 30 minutes of Redfall. There's also going to be, was it Moon of Lana or something like that? It's more of like an indie game, but that's going to get some more exposure. So hopefully that's still on track and everything.
And Redfall is at QuakeCon, right? They already.
Oh no, that's right. You're right. It's QuakeCon, not
that's
Games.
QuakeCon. But they're going to use QuakeCon too. So
yeah,
again,
that's
another show that they've got.
Yeah, they definitely need to do more of these shows and things to kind of space out some of their announcements and stuff, because they got so much stuff that's kind of backlogged or backed up. And Matt Booty had talked about it just before the whole E3 thing, where he's like, yeah, we got a spreadsheet and it's like trying to figure out where to put certain things in certain shows and when and whatnot. It's that's a task in and of itself. So yeah, they've hopefully an XO along with the Game Awards for the later part of the year, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. I know we had I know Silent. Shout out to Silent Cipher. He had a question. He threw us a quick question here. He said, "This Fuzz, you probably be the most qualified to answer this question." He said, "Do you think the Gamescom show is where we'll see the rumored first-party steering wheel?"
I'm thinking they wait until early next year, like when they do a more of like a deeper dive in the beginning of next year for Forza Motorsport. I think that's when they show it. Although I do agree, it would be nice to show it to the world at Gamescom, so that way you get people excited about it. Hopefully they can start putting money aside for it to pre-order it, because I'm figuring they're going to probably go something along the level of Logitech range, and that's already a $400 wheel unless you catch it on sale type of thing. But yeah, I think they wait. It would be a good thing to see, but I think they wait until they get closer to the game releasing. And then there's I think Gabe had a question also about the PSVR. I hate to say it, I think that thing is going to be 500. I would love for it to be under 400 or 400 or less, but especially after the whole Oculus thing where I don't want to say they gouged people, but they were like, oh, August 1st, $100 bump in price. Yeah. And based on specs, I think the PSVR 2 was, sizing up to be a little bit better spec wise, although I think it had like an extra wire or something like that. But still, I still think that thing is almost 500, but 400 fingers crossed, but 500 I think
No.
is the price.
Yeah, me and Pong were talking about that when the news of with the specs and everything that's coming with micro LED, OLED, like display panels and all that, and I was like, man, this thing is going to be north of $500. I would not put it with the announcement of Oculus 2 going up $100. So now it's what, 400 and 500 for the two models that they have. I think the Pro and the base.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see that because they're working on the Oculus 3, and that was rumored to be more around 4-5ish because of what it has. So it'd be interesting to see. That's why it's like, why is it taking so long for them to announce anything? Like with them, with nothing than God of War that you have, that all we know of is God of War, Wolverine, and Spider-Man 2, but those games are 2-3 years out. So, well, I should say Wolverine is in 2024, Spider-Man possibly in 2023. But I mean, that's about it that we know of 100%. They got about 20 titles they're working on. But we know 10 are going to be live service games. So what's the other games? We don't know yet.
Yeah, I think they're keeping it close to the chest because, like, kind of like what Pong had hinted to earlier, where it's like I don't think Sony now wants to move dates. I think from this point moving forward, I think when they say a time like, oh, it's going to be 2024, it'll definitely be 2024. Or if they get a little more specific, like, fall of 2024, I think that's when they know, all right, we're at polishing phase, or we're 90% there, and all we got to do is the last mile of polishing and stuff. I think they're holding things a lot closer than they have in the past.
All right, and we got another $5 super chat from Silent Cipher. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. He said IO Interactive releases a trailer for Project 007 during Gamescom. If so, what is the panel's hype level? So I mean, I think we all GoldenEye has a big like spot in my heart. I'm a big FPS fan, always have been, and I remember sitting around on the 17-inch CRT TV playing GoldenEye split screen, trying not to look at anybody else's screen, and you know what I mean, like doing all this fun stuff. So I'm going to be extremely excited. I think they are the perfect developer to make a GoldenEye game. Obviously, Hitman is about as close as you can get. I mean, it's not as quite actiony, but it's very in the same vein. It's kind of like a James Bond, spy stealth kind of stuff. So I'm excited. I'm thoroughly excited to see that game. I don't know if anybody else here on the panel wants to take that as well.
I would definitely like to see that trailer if they have it ready. I don't know if Gamescom is the place that they do that, but it would be awesome if they did. Yeah. I think that game, like, how close is the movie? Is the movie towards the very tail end of this year?
I have to look it up. I'm not entirely sure.
Because I was kind of thinking that definitely by the video game awards time frame, but if it could be sooner, that would be awesome. But I'm thinking that movie is like holiday range, and even though the anniversary is right around the corner, I kind of see where you're at on that, and with the trailer, maybe drop the GoldenEye remake or the reboot, not reboot, but like the remaster or whatever, at Gamescom. That hopefully, fingers crossed, and then the trailer. But I don't know, that would definitely catch a lot of people off guard. That's for sure.
Yeah, Pong, I don't know where you at on that, Pong.
As far as that goes, yeah. I mean, anything from IO is on my list. And again, depending on when they're ready to show, that's the whole thing. I think Project Dragon, they've got to, again, see, because I just talked about how they're not going to, a lot of them are going to stop showing before they're ready, but I think we got to get a teaser at some point for Dragon.
You in the speculation town, Pong. Come on now.
I mean, that, we had heard, and we got the code name thanks to Jez, and, it was just starting out, supposedly, but eventually we got to get a teaser for that. But obviously, if IO is ready to show something with the quality that they are known for, they are one of those that don't put out things until they're ready, and their games come out so polished that I think that they will sit on it. And it also, I think a lot has to do with if whether or not in the background, if that's one of the deals that was kind of put on hold while the acquisition's going through with Activision Blizzard. So if IO is one of the next announcements right out the gates, right after the Activision Blizzard deals through, then I think that changes the timelines as well. So I think there's a lot in play here. But again, whenever they're ready to show, I'll be ready to watch because IO is just top notch, man. No doubt about it.
All right, Psycho, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I mean, I was I never had a 64. My brother did, so I got the game every so often because he always had. It was him and his buddies always playing GoldenEye. So when I did get to play it, it was a blast. I hated when people were playing Odd Job because that
Lord, the cheaters,
right.
shooting people in
I'm
the
like,
kneecaps.
yo, I'm no. That's the thing. If I see anyone playing Odd Job, that's it. It's going to be nothing but Odd Jobs. Watch when if this is announced and this comes out, it's going to be nothing but Odd Jobs.
They have to patch that, man. They got to make our job 6 foot because that's kind of ridiculous.
But yeah, that's the thing. I would love to see if they announce it there. It's just we have to wait. I forget who kind of like, we'll see GoldenEye there. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. And if we can get one more question, if not, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. So I'll wait a minute or two. But I do want to say, chat, you guys have been amazing. This has been an amazing show. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Come back again next week. You guys already know the spiel. Appreciate you guys for the support. But if anybody has one more question, we'll take that. Okay. All right. So Gabe, shout out to you, Cali Kid 619. He said, how long will console be around for? When will console no longer be needed? That is a great damn question. I don't know. Anybody? I mean, anybody.
Oh yeah, I definitely have a voice with this. Now the thing with a game, the console is going to be around with Xbox. That's pretty much what we're looking at. Xbox, I would say, when the technology is ready, when they implement Orion into xCloud in the next, I'd say the next 10 years, possibly we'll start to see a diminish of hardware because if the tech is better than being native, then if you're almost like, okay, why would you need hardware if it's running natively better streaming service wise? And that's what Orion is there for. You get 4K 60 with ultra settings pretty much, and that's what Bethesda showcased in 2019, I believe, at E3, and I was like, wow, holy crap. And then Jez, again, shout out to Jez, he put on an article about Orion, and once that technology is implemented into the agility SDK for xCloud, I will say in the 10 years, we'll see a diminish in the need of hardware. It won't go away, but 15, 20 years could possibly be the end of hardware. Sony, who knows? If they go the Sega route and decide to just be a third-party publisher, it could be, and the next generation, PS6 could be the last console. We don't know. We don't know where the direction they're trying to head it, where they're trying to go. Jim Ryan's trying to have them go one way, but Sony Japan is wanting to stay traditional in their traditional ways. So it's hard to say with Sony, but 15, 20 years, we'll see the decline of hardwares.
Okay. All right. Anybody want to tackle that? Anybody else?
Yeah, quantum computing is going to change everything. So once that becomes viable, I think a lot of problems that we have currently, as far as that's related to the tech and where that can go, quantum computing is going to solve a lot of things that we thought once were impossible. I would say the complete removal of consoles are probably 2 generations away. So again, take that how you want to. 15 years, 16, 20 years, somewhere in that neighborhood before the absolute even ability to buy hardware is kind of removed at that point. I think that hardware at some capacity will still be available. It might become a very niche thing at some point in time where people just decide that they're getting the better, a good enough quality that they don't need the hardware. But I think we got 2 more generations where the consoles are, the hardware is offered before we see, the big guys all bow out and say we don't need to do this anymore. There's no, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm
there's still some infrastructure hurdles, things like some
Yeah.
practical things that they have to get over. You know what I mean? Like not everybody having good quality internet access. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. So
Yeah.
once they get over those, traditional, kind of the same hurdles that's been around for the last 15, 20 years. You know what I mean? When they've thought about this already for a very long time. This is kind of the direction a lot of these companies, especially a company like Xbox and Microsoft, want to go this way. We'll see though. I mean, 2 generations, that seems really soon. I mean, even at 15, 20 years, that sounds far, but it'll be here and gone, and in a matter of time.
Think about where we were 20 years ago.
That's a good point as well too. That is a good point as well too. So I mean, they're already moving in that direction. xCloud already, that's a great option. That's only getting better every month, every year. All these other companies, Amazon, Google, dumping a ton of money, into the cloud, things like that. So I don't know, man. I mean, like you said, it'll be odd if hardware ends up being like a niche thing. That would be extremely odd. I mean, I don't know if we will get to a point to where it's going to be like having a box is going to be like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? It's going to get to that point at some point. That's just how technology works. As things get better, we find better solutions and options. But man, maybe 2 generations. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could see that, Pong.
I think the balance is going to be the size of the box is going to be where the question won't be if there is a box. It's just that it'll be so small or minuscule that the hardware that's needed in a box will be already built into your TV or already built into your phone. So you'll be able to cast from your phone and that will be sufficient. Well, not saying that you need an Xbox phone, but there will be, an ARM chip for the Xbox. They can, do the equivalent streaming for anything Steam, Xbox, or PlayStation related already built into hardware we'll already buy or own, or maybe your router will take a bigger role where it's going to be all encompassing as far as for these streaming services. But I think once I don't want to say 7G is that number. I think 8G, when 8G is being talked about and the masses are starting to adopt it, I think that's when we'll be at a threshold where hardware won't be as necessary. Like I have no idea what speeds 8G would have to entail, but it just seems like when that becomes as common as 4G is, that's when it should be a lot easier to do a lot more things. The quantum computing aspect is going to be another aspect of it, but like I said, I think that's going to be, all you'll need is a chip in the TV, maybe even just a chip in the controller, and basically these servers and whatnot that Amazon and Microsoft or Sony, if they have their own server blades and so forth, that will be all that you'll need. So I'm going to say 12 years is when they start to become niche. I mean, us enthusiasts will always have some form of a box that will be either attached to our TV or attached to a monitor or, somewhere in the house kind of thing. But I think the masses will be satisfied with, the quality they see just with the TV itself or just with the controllers, streaming to their phone or something along those lines. So.
Okay,
that's my guess.
All right. Well, I mean, it's probably a lot closer, a lot sooner than later. I would say it sounds like kind of we're all on the same that same line of idea. So I think we're going to wrap this thing up with that question. Appreciate you guys, chat once again, man. The show was once again amazing. Our guest has been awesome. Everybody in chat, shout out to you guys for all the support. The super chats, the likes, everything you guys do, just being here, hanging out with us, seeing your beautiful faces in chat, some familiar names, some new names. While you're heading out, if you're new, hit the like button, subscribe. Please show some support to everybody here on the panel. Go follow all of us on Twitter. And I do want to start with our guest here, Mr. Psychonauts, man. Appreciate you, bro. for coming out, hanging out with us, man. Shout out to all the FSP love. I see you down there, Mav, Caitlin. They all showed up. Jasper was here. Shout out to everybody showing love. But Psychonauts, let everybody know where they can find you if they have not already, brother.
Well, I just want to say thank you, PTK, for allowing me to be on the show. Always loved the Shop podcast, and I just when I saw that there was the three of you, I was like, ooh, I gotta reach out, and because I'll just love doing the show. And
thank you, man.
No problem. And chat, you guys are on fire. Always great energy, and just love to see it. And thank you for coming out and spending your time with us. And it's just fantastic. And you can find me everywhere on social media. Psychonauts8. You can find me on Mondays, FSP at I think 10 o'clock. It keeps changing, so I can't remember what time it is because Mav likes to change it sometimes. And then on Friday, Xbox Ultimate, where we have the best takes, very professional podcast.
Shout out to Jasper. I heard about your contract situation, man.
And you guys can find me there. Thanks for allowing me to be on tonight. Thank you.
No big deal. Shout out to you, Psychonauts. Thank you, bro. You're always fun to have here. Once again, you're always welcome to come on the show and give some great takes, bro. We all loved having you on here. Once again, shout out to the FSP fam, everybody coming in watching. What's up, Bacon? How you doing, bro? I know you're a little late. Just hit the replay, bro. No worries. It's all saved on YouTube. So shout out to you for coming through. I'm gonna get to my two right hand man. We have a different show today, but you guys did fucking phenomenal, fellas. So I'm gonna take my hat off to Pong and Fuzz. You guys did awesome, man. Pretty much. But Pong, let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
Wow, well, what a great freaking fantastic show, as always, on a Saturday, man. I just had a blast here. Great discussions. Psycho, always great to have extra shows with you, man. You know what it is. Nothing but love and respect, brother.
Yes.
And of
what's
course,
up, Tool Man, too? My bad. I didn't even say it. What's up, Tool
Tool
Man?
Man's out there? Tool
yeah,
Man.
Yeah, what's up, Tool Man?
PTK and Fuzzy, you guys always know, man. Love you guys, and this is great. Chat, you guys were absolutely amazing. And we had a lot to talk about and cover tonight. So even if we didn't have a whole lot of questions from chat, we still had some great conversations here because there's a lot going on. We again, delay season is in full effect, but we also got a bunch of news and get some coverage behind the scenes of what's
delay
going on.
season has no effect on Speculation Town's economy at all.
Never. That's the great part.
No,
that's the great part. It's always open, right? We can always find something to talk about. But, this was fantastic. And the format, PTK, thank you for allowing us to take over and have a topic. That was awesome of you to do for sure, man. So, we just got to talk. We got to get back on a streak of good polls.
Yeah,
okay?
we're going to work on that.
Yeah, for sure. But no, great show. Otherwise, you guys can find me, Pong Soul, on Xbox, Pong Soul on Twitter. You guys all know the drill there. Obviously, next week, I'm not going to be on Xbox Factor Podcast. I can't make it, but you got to show up every Tuesday because Double Barrel Gaming and Mr. Boomstick being the man, all good things green every Tuesday. Got to be there. It's great conversations. He's got a full panel every week now. He's brought in so many people. It's always just fantastic Tuesday afternoon. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time, PM in the PM. Pong and Mav in the PM on Thursday. We are growing. We are just having some incredible conversations Thursday night. Two-man show. Every once in a while we'll have a guest, but we haven't had one in a long time. But Mav and I catch up. That's where we catch up during the week. And we get the chat involved just like Steele and I do Saturday mornings. So we're having a great time Thursday nights. Come check us out. 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time over on Fun Speculations channel. We know you're going to enjoy it. It's so much fun. Man, I love Thursday nights. I love all my shows, but I just love Thursday nights. And then back at it Friday night where we go left. And that's where we get all the laughs going, right? On Xbox Ultimate. Because you never know what's going to happen, right? And I've actually been the one to take us left very early on. So the past couple of weeks, but man, we are now, we just did episode 101 last week, or yesterday, I should say, and then episode 100 a week ago. So go check those out because you're going to laugh. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to get an idea of what we're all about there on Xbox Ultimate, which is a family. And we get together and we just have a good time. We talk gaming for sure, but we also laugh a lot. So be there, enjoy it. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time every Friday night. And then Saturday mornings, you know the drill. It's living split screen. Come get your energy from me and Steele. We are ready for you, okay? You get there. there. You get a behind the scenes. If you show up there, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. BST time. Beforehand, you get a little behind the scenes action. We don't get to start the show started for another 15 minutes, but you got Steele and I talking. We talk to you guys in the chat. We do all that kind of fun stuff as well. And then we get rolling. And then once we start rolling, that's it, man. 3+ hours. Again, we've been going 4 nonstop for the past probably 3-4 months now. So buckle up, okay? Living Split Screen, all one word for Split Screen. We're on mission 1K. Bring a friend, tell a friend. It's Steele and I. It's the only chance that him and I get together during the week, usually, unless we have an odd show here or there. But normally that's it. So we catch up, but we talk to you guys in the chat. Bring your stuff. We love it. We love the conversation aspect of that show. It is the best way to start your Saturdays. Again, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Be there, Living Split Screen. Otherwise, I'll be back here, of course, for Saturday night to end the weekend off as far as podcasting goes. Otherwise, it's the golden age of gaming, people. You know the drill by now. Play what you love what you play. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't let anybody be an energy demon and suck that celebration that you have for this industry, okay? Don't let them do it. Just get out there, enjoy it, and I'm going to talk to y'all real soon. Love y'all.
Appreciate you, Pong, man. The battery, the Duracell of the Shop podcast. Appreciate you. Consistent every week, man. You guys know what to do. Go follow Pong on Twitter. If you didn't catch all of that, it's going to be the easiest way to keep up with all the shows he's on and what he has going throughout the week. That schedule changes sometimes, so go to Twitter to follow him there, man. And last but not least, our smooth operator, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere.
Well, just want to thank you for having me on, and just awesome having Psychonauts on here with us. It was a good time, and always great to hear your thoughts on everything gaming related, man. It's such a pleasure. But man, oh man, this was an awesome show. The chat came in and they were on fire today, and it was a good time. A little nervous on doing the intro topics, but man, I think they turned out great. I think Pong really knocked it out of the park on that one. It was.
I cheat though, Fuzzy, because I do that on PM the PM.
I was gonna say, like,
Pong has Living Split Screen, Steele and I kind of back and forth.
New. It's just new for this show. Pong, so.
No, but this was definitely a good time. I had an awesome time talking with you guys, and man, for anybody that just wants to hear my ramblings on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on FSP on Mondays with Psychonauts, 3-Bit, Lore Master Jasper, and Fun Speculation on his channel. That's, once again, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. On Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm on Double Barrel Gaming with Mr. Boomstick, with Dreadpool, with Web Dave, and John Wolf when he's available, and a whole slew of many great talented creators that Mr. Boomstick has on there as well. And then later on Friday night, like Pong said, going left, a bunch of laughs, awesome time. Just finished episode 101 of Xbox Ultimate on Fun Speculations channel. Catch us live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. And then Saturday, right back here on the Shop Podcast. Basically my home away from home with my brothers PTK and Pong, talking about whatever we've been playing over the week, and just gaming in general. Always a great time. Catch us 9 p.m. Eastern Time Central, or 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I guess that's 8 p.m. Central on Saturday nights. But man, can't wait till next Saturday with you guys.
Awesome, and you did great, by the way. So don't shortchange yourself, Fuzz. You did fucking awesome, bro. You did a great job.
Fuzzy always shortchanges himself.
Oh man, he's so modest,
you got
right?
it down, man. You got it down. Yeah. Now we just gotta get your face on camera on some of the
shit. Well, shout out to we got some. Shout out to Risk It. I didn't even see you, brother. Shout out to Risk It hanging out in the chat as well. Appreciate you, brother. But last but not least, your boy PTK Bam. You guys know me. I don't need a whole long introduction. Hit me up on Twitter. Follow me, there to figure out what's going on with the Shop Podcast, to take part in that poll of the week, figure out what guests we have for the week. You want to send us chat questions, all that kind of stuff. Send it there, man. Appreciate you guys. Once again, enjoy the rest of your weekend. You guys are phenomenal. Thank you for the continued support. See you guys next week, same time, same place, new guests. Peace out, everybody.
Later,
chat.